Objection!
Hi everybody, it's us again. So yeah, hello there everybody. This is the AlJavis here, and welcome to 2 Ace Record. Shit! Well, that fucked up. Anyways, welcome to the director's commentary for 2-8, where we talk about the ins and outs of production, how much we hate ourselves, and great transition. It was supposed to be a fade. Will it fade this time? Yes, it will. Okay. Anyways, if the people, as always, I'm not here, I'm not alone, so if you guys would like to introduce yourselves, starting with... We're going by Discord order. Peeps?
Oh, am I first? I'm
yes,
sorry.
You're first. No, you're good. You're good.
I wasn't sure what order we were going by. Okay, hello. I'm Pretty Pegasus Wings. I am the head of HR, and I also do the voices of Coco, Mel, Zecora, and Diamond Tiara, who appears in this episode. And also for this episode, I was an animator at the time, so I'm looking forward to talking about that.
You definitely have a lot to say with this one. Next!
Oh, I do.
Hi everybody, my name is MLPArts. I am the team leader of the voice actors, and I do the voices of Twilight, Apple Bloom, Silver Spoon, Sweetie Belle, and Rarity.
Yeah. And next?
Hello everyone, I go by Eon. I'm an animator for this project, and I animated a very special part of this episode, so we'll talk about that when we get there.
Mm-hmm. And next?
Hi everyone. Assuming I'm not muted, Al. My
not.
name is Jarvy Jared. I am the team leader for the public relations team and the musicians team. I'm also one of the writers. And I made music and wrote stuff for this episode. That was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And next?
I'm one of the writers also, and I did the arrangement for the OST for this episode as well.
Woohoo! And last but not least?
Hello. I'm Joel. I'm one of the audio engineers for this project, and I also helped James with the brainstorming process of the OST for this episode.
Awesome. So yeah, 2-8. Based on everyone's reaction, it's a banger in more ways than one. And also, it's not just 2.8 we're gonna talk about. It's also 2.8.5, but we will get to that when we get to that. So I believe that we should get started with this episode. Are you all ready?
Woo! Yeah!
Yay! I guess we should all prepare for pain.
For pain.
Alright, starting now.
Previously on Elements of Justice. The source of the anonymous tip and the location of the remaining suit of armor, the one belonging to the victim that died at the statue. Sonata should be out investigating those things right now.
So the recap music here is actually from the Ace Attorney anime. I was hoping to get season 2's, but it literally doesn't exist. They didn't release it. It's really frustrating because I think it's better than season.
Well, the season 1 version of this song is still pretty great, so
it's not bad, but season 2 it just doesn't compare to me.
Well, how long has season 2 been out?
Years, since like 2018.
Oh,
they just didn't release it for whatever reason. I don't think it did as well as they'd hoped, so they just didn't release the OST for the Blu-ray.
That's weird.
Hold it!
Also, this is a great recap. Captures all the very important points that we went over back in 2007.
$100 already? What the fuck?
What?
And already someone gave up their...
Oh my god, the legend returns.
Nightly dinner.
It begins.
Thanks, Fire Sky.
He is him.
Like to step down from defending Sweetie Belle.
I don't remember. I think I saw someone in the chat saying they wanted to donate to PPW. I'm not sure.
Aww.
Oh gosh.
Pretty, you're gonna get money.
Although I think they misspelled it and said PWW.
Oh, by the way, before we move on, there's actually one other person that I forgot to introduce. It's kind of a last minute thing, but if everyone would be quiet, and I like to for this guy to introduce themselves. Ba-da-ding!
Hello there, viewers. My name is Josh, also known as EmeraldGD. I'm one of the fellow video editors on Elements of Justice. I had joined this team back when Case 2 was in early development. Back then, there were only 2 other video editors on the team. That probably puts into perspective how much the team has grown since the start of this case. As someone who was a fan of the original Turnabout Storm, I was ecstatic to be part of a project like this, and I look forward to what the future holds for it and the team.
And there's actually one more thing he wants to say right before we start. And basically, it's his introduction to automation, and he has something to say about that too.
So, for me, 2.8 marked a turning point in how editing is done for EOJ, with the introduction of automated commands. Shout out to the automation team for their impeccable work. As you can see, 2.8 is where I use the commands for the very first time, mostly the one that does lip syncing. Given that they were meant to streamline the editing process for us, I thought they would be easy to pick up and learn. Oh, how naive of me to think that. But to be fair, lip syncing for Phoenix and his crew went with little issue. The ponies, on the other hand, were another story.
And that's all he wanted to say for now. You can tell he's very happy to talk about this, and he wanted to join this DC, but unfortunately, a lot of people wanted to join, and it can only have a absolute max of 7 people. But yeah, he will be in chat right now. I don't know if he's in chat right now, but he said he will. So I also love how we share the same name. But yeah, here we go. Starting with 2.8. Ah, good old 2.8.
2.8.
Hey, what the heck was that? Yeah, threatening to step down as Sweetie Belle's lawyer? You must have scared her half to death.
Ignore that lowercase t in threatening.
Yeah.
We sure did.
But I had to. Sweetie Belle wasn't going to talk unless she was backed into a corner.
It's true. She was awfully determined to keep things to herself. Again.
Yeah, again. What's her angle here?
I'm wondering if that was connected to how she was behaving earlier today.
Earlier today? You mean before the trial?
Yeah, and how nonchalant she was. Since Athena managed to surprise her, I think she must have been counting on not being asked to testify.
Even so, don't you think it was going way too far making that threat?
Truthfully, Trucy,
I like how we're just letting them talk.
Sweetie Belle left us no choice.
Kind of don't have a lot to say in this part.
I didn't like making Sweetie Belle feel that way either.
It's kind of just speaking for itself.
She's definitely up to something.
Right.
We can't save her if she isn't willing to speak.
I have some concerns about this part, but mostly concerns that come in the, what do you call it, in retrospect.
Yeah.
The function of this scene really is recapping, and then having characters respond, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of scenes in Case 2, especially early scenes in episodes, like scenes 1 and 2, basically, where that's it that's really happening. It's just recap and response to a previous episode or previous event. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's done out of a need to, show reactions or have characters respond to intense situations, but because it happens so often, I've noticed that a lot of these scenes ones feel very bloated. And it's kind of weak in retrospect.
Yeah.
She managed to explain away the contradictions in
It's possible that like the way to make it work would be to work more through implication and imply a response without recapping the actual events.
This is exactly why I didn't do as
Then you
little
only work on
testing
getting it
and
to the
go
core
under
of the actual
verification.
content of the
There's been
scene.
planning some
Like in this
crazy
scene,
story
there's a moment that's coming up where I think that
very
is like what the scene should have been about. None of this kind of,
Sugar
you know,
Stamp and her
recapping,
guy, somehow they're
implying this kind of
also a
stuff.
part of it.
Yeah.
Probably as
Point is,
collaborators.
these scenes ones,
What do you mean a story?
they suffer from a lot of bloatedness. Bloatedness
True.
because of necessity rather than finesse.
That's certainly what the evidence suggests.
Hopefully it doesn't happen
But
again.
I'm not so sure
Yeah,
about that anymore,
I think the
Tracy.
problem is
Think about it. If the right
concerning
individual
these
is
episodes come
fake,
out like
then who's
in
to say the love letter
a
isn't
large
as well?
time spans that it feels like that these are needed, but for someone who watched these back to back, they'll be like, I already know this. Why are you repeating what you just said before?
But the emotions in their
Like
voices
a minute
don't
ago.
match what they're saying. In fact,
Of
their
course, like different
outbursts are
perspectives
completely emotionless.
comes to mind when it comes to that, but the more we realize that like these are not really like necessary.
Exactly. That led me to believe Sugar Stamp's confession
It's just
was
exposition.
definitely a lie.
That's all it really is.
Supported by
Yeah,
plain
exposition
facts.
is necessary because exposition
The
is
main suspect was
a tool. It's not a
seeing as
problem.
how he was the lead
It's just that it's
Mhm.
used here. It's not a good tool.
E-
So there are ways of, you know,
I
changing it,
didn't
making it
want
more
to
finesse,
believe
making it smoother.
but it made the most sense. He was also friends with
Pull
Royal
from
Order,
Pulp
so
Fiction, not the movie, like the
he had a
actual genre of
personal
Pulp
stake in this
Fiction,
as
and just,
well.
you know, start off with
Anyway,
something
if Sugar's
action-packed,
lying about killing
a
him,
one-liner,
she must
something like
also be
that.
lying
Something that's a little
about
more
why she
expedient,
killed him.
essentially.
Coupled with a
With-
lack of
Yeah.
There's
emotions
probably a
surrounding
healthy
the
medium
subject,
we can strike
there
with
is
where it
also
serves as a nice
likely to be a lie.
reminder for the
One
people that are waiting for these
Sugar
episodes to
Stamp
come out,
and
but
that
also
I must all be aware
doesn't
of.
feel completely
That's why
unnecessary
you
to the
insisted
people
we go
watching
down
these
this
after the
route,
fact.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It started as a hunch, but
Like how would you
Yeah.
say
It
like
looks like
you
everyone's
already
lying to us.
delved into it, but how would you say,
Belle
Jarvy, like
included for some
how to make
reason.
scene ones better?
But they must be looking for more than just trying to land Sugar Stamp and
Well, I can't give you a universal answer because I think every scene one is going to be a little bit different. But I would say avoid recapping as much as possible,
Mm-hmm.
Sonata.
and just
Yeah,
try to get into
Sonata.
like what is the point of this scene? Like this right here with Sonata, this is the point. This is really the point of scene
Actually,
one.
we're in recess right now.
If you started with
pick a better
Sonata,
time.
you could easily have wound in reactions to what Athena did, rather than placing what Athena did in the reaction to that first, and then kind of just, you know, having 3-4 minutes of
Let's see what you've got.
nothing.
Yeah. There's actually something that I should mention. It's actually not me necessarily. It's actually from Josh that wanted to talk about something with handling Sonata. Apparently he had some trouble with this. So if you want to say something, Josh.
Out of all the ponies that could give me trouble during the editing process, Sonata was the biggest offender. Because no matter how much I tried during the polishing phase, Sonata's lip syncing just kept not looking right. It got to the point I had to get another editor to help fix this issue. It was then only a little after the fact that I realized I was using the wrong lip syncer command. Turns out, the one I was using was outdated, and the one all the other editors were using was labeled as the master lip syncer command. I was dumbfounded that I didn't realize this sooner. I felt like such a rookie again, just like Phoenix at the start of Turnabout Storm. I know if I caught this issue sooner, I would have had a smoother experience. But it is what it is, and I've grown wiser from it.
I love automation. It like makes things so much easier, but also it will lead to stuff like that. Which is why whenever let's actually move
Anything
on with
that
this.
you use on a whether it's some kind of programming thing, make sure it's up to date.
Exactly. Not just up to date, but if you find any bugs, point it out immediately because that bug might not just apply to you, but it might apply to every other editor. So
More of his blood, huh?
Also, Ace Attorney Investigations music, Pog.
But what was it doing
Pog.
on the trees, though? And how did
Pog.
it get there? I thought we recall seeing any blood on the forest
Like-
floor.
I'm still not sure of that myself.
There was a bit of a dilemma with whether we should have used the
What else have you got?
original or the cover, but
Unfortunately,
we went with
I
the
wasn't able to
cover
determine
with
the exact
this.
source of the anonymous
With
tip,
this,
but I
I
was
think
able
this
to
one.
verify which
Not, but
magazine was used to
I'm
make
trying to
it.
remember who this one was by. It's in the credits, but
That would be.
this
Yeah, I
is the
think
cover we went with because it feels like appropriate for Sonata.
It had
Mhm.
letters cut
You were
out
saying,
that
James?
matched the ones on the anonymous tip.
Yeah, the name of the track, I
I
think it's just
even
Tricks and
managed to get a
Gimmicks.
quality photo of the magazine
Ah.
Just answering what Jill
before
said.
removing it for examination.
Well,
Gimmicks, you
not
say?
all of us can afford a higher quality camera.
This
Perhaps you
this
should
joke
learn to invest a bit more wisely then.
ongoing.
Yes, Mr. Wright, maybe you learn to invest in crypto. You'd be a little richer.
But yeah,
Hmm,
the OG
come back
version
if
of
you're a
this
little
pack
bit more rupees.
is really fantastic, but
Mhm.
if you can, if a cover fits and there's like an artistic reasoning behind using the cover,
What's all this
then
stuff
yeah,
underneath
why
the
not, right?
magazine?
I noticed that as
Anything
well.
that enhances like
After I took that
at
picture,
any
I did
moment,
some
even just slightly,
digging
always
and
appreciate it.
determined that's a couple of Hearts and Hooves Day envelopes. They were most likely.
See, this is
thrown away
another thing that
after
this
his
part
team
of scene
opened
one
them.
does well. There's a little bit of, humor,
Digging in a little
Yeah.
which gives a little bit of a breath, a little bit of levity.
AKA
Yeah,
Polly
a lot of
Really, Mr. Wright, you and I both
like
know
case
this
two
was
doesn't
part
have
of an
like the most
intense
amount of jokes,
investigation.
but the time we do
It's
have
not
jokes,
sifting for
a lot of them tend to be
trash,
great,
it's sifting for
especially the ones
evidence.
involving Phoenix and just roasting like his
Roasting his
lack
old
of
man
technology.
status.
Yeah.
Punching
I
down
just-
on the old man.
I just love this running joke of like digging through trash.
Still, it would be worth
That
verifying
goes throughout this entire
Which
episode.
is why after I was done investigating,
Mhm.
I asked her and Silver Spoon to come and wait in the lobby.
That sounds like a good idea.
Also, like that comment
Thank you, Sonata.
from like cadets,
Well,
like
we're able to uncover.
You remember her in the new
what's
suit of
perf-
armor?
little
managed
thing
to
when
find
she
it.
said it's not sifting through trash, sifting through evidence. Her
The one
performance
with
on
the
that.
scooter
There's
trash
just
is
a little bit of sass in there that I just love.
Precisely. I found it deep in the Everfree forest. It had been chewed apart. by
Sassy
timber wolves
Sonata.
And was missing its
Sassy
helmet.
Sonata.
In addition, I noticed that the left side of the body plate had a particularly ugly dent in it.
Any idea as to what made it?
Based on how it was dented and the shape of the impression left over, I'd say some kind of long wedged object.
A long wedged object?
It was the fabric roll.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Clearly.
$2 from
Don't
placeholder.
It has to be like
we-
relate. I mean, the fabric rule has to be related to every case, right?
All right, hold on, $2 from placeholder. We sometimes forget that TS had a lot of humor. Yeah, Turnabout Storm had a lot of humor,
Well,
which I feel like we're kind of lacking in EOJ. Not enough humor.
You think so?
I mean, like I think we
Although
excel
I will
in
say
other
some
stuff,
of the
but
humor in Turnabout Storm is definitely a
dated.
product
it's
of the time.
dated. It's definitely dated.
Very dated. Some of it makes me
It's-
cringe.
Without having to jump through a bunch
But
of
that,
Especially when it comes to Pinky in my
like there's
case.
still humor. Humor is still humor, even though it's dated.
Blood and the armor
Mhm.
entirely.
It was because of Private Eye.
What? Private Eye?
See, that's a good reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Then watch, fade out, fade back in.
Hmm.
Notice how Sonata speaks.
But that doesn't
It's all
seem
implied.
like him to do that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No one had to
Even
talk
if
about it.
we
It could just be
believed
implied that
truly
she's shocked.
that Sugar Stamp was the killer.
So if we had shown it as just that,
Before?
would have been fine. Would have been less
Yes,
bloated.
on a number of occasions.
We
But
we
that's
also
neither
have like
here
the
nor
little
there at the
recaps we do in the intros
The
right
point
before the
That is
episode.
also
Trust him.
true. Yep.
I can't imagine he'd do something like that without a good reason.
There's only so much you can put in there.
Only so much you can do with just scripts too. In prose, you get away with it with a paragraph that, summarizes a reaction. With scripts, you either have the reaction or you cut the reaction.
Yeah.
And it's, oh
Hello,
god,
Zecora.
It's the zebra at the hour.
her.
Oh, yes. That was another thing Athena asked me to do. Bring Zecora along.
I actually forgot that Zecora was in this episode.
I just have a few last-minute questions that I need you to answer.
More writing for rhymes.
Thank god it was only like, 5 lines? This is line 2. Maybe just like 6 lines. It's not too many.
Because it was
And then
a
we'll never have
small
it
amount,
anymore.
I remember.
Here it is.
I also remember this was not that much of a pain for me to splice her takes for either. Pretty here got better at getting like
Tell me what they are?
it basically wasn't her element voicing Zecora at this point, so I could tell like it was easier for me to pick out the good takes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it took time to get into the character because not only was I doing an accent, I was also trying to keep a rhythm with the rhyming and keeping my voice lower as well. And that can be a lot to concentrate on without actually concentrating on it, considering the focus should always be on the acting coming out naturally and not thinking about everything I'm going to say, because then that's what it's going to sound like when I act.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not the
A lot of growth
in,
just from several episodes ago to now.
First,
I think it came
I
out
want
really
to
well.
reaffirm that the potion was stored in the floor shelf.
I'm really proud of how far I came with Zecora. I really love her character, and I'm glad I could give her
You make an
do
awesome
the
Zecora.
justice she deserves.
You make an amazing Zecora. It makes up for the rhymes that I had to write for her.
You had help.
It's
yeah,
like
I know, but I hate it still.
It's like you
It
may
was
not
horrible.
like writing Zecora, but at least you got to hear Peeps like voicing Zecora.
That is true.
Yeah.
Redemption.
Just make these kinds of potions for yourself.
It all came together
Some
so well.
solace. God, I hope we never get to write Zecora ever again.
But that
so
means
credits.
but that means no more PPW Zecora.
I guess maybe if I ever pop up in another project, if someone needs a Zecora, and I feel like doing it, maybe I'll do her again.
Reappear in the "Where Are They Now" segment of the credits. So she's not gone forever.
That answers everything I had for now. Thanks again, Zecora. Could you actually stick around before the trial begins? I might want to ask a few more things.
Of course. I'll gladly spare my time, if it will help solve this awful crime.
I know you didn't ask this of me, Athena, but I'd also gone to check up on the Carousel Boutique break-in.
Oh, good thinking. Did you find anything new?
I love Adox's take on that.
No.
It really,
Investigators
it really
are
shows
still
like how like impressed Athena is with Sonata's conduct.
Clarity, as you can understand, is still quite upsetting.
I just love Adox's like
Yeah, I can
just
imagine.
being Athena, like such a good Athena.
If nothing's missing,
I like the way I say this. She's not voicing Athena. She is Athena.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
She is
At
the
this point,
definitive
yeah.
Athena for me.
Miss Sykes?
Like
Turning page.
I've said it a bunch of times, but like
What brings you to the courthouse?
since like starting EOJ and whatever, like all the VAs for like the Ace Attorney characters, like they've become my headcanons for the voices.
So long as Sweetie Belle cooperates with us.
By the way, that line from Turning was a reference to Airplane.
Also wanted
Ah.
to see Scootaloo again to check how she's.
Yeah, it is
We have
natural.
humor.
It is
You
natural.
just have to look for it.
In the directing of a project, when you keep hearing these voices over and over again, to have that be stuck in your head, it's kind of one of the fun things of fan projects is you get to hear fun interpretations of characters you already knew.
Yeah, I mean, arts here is basically, to my ears, the definitive Apple Bloom.
Also the definitive Sweetie, not Sweetie Belle and especially Silver Spoon. Like
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, just 20%.
Yeah, Arts does an excellent job with all the voices she does. It's really amazing.
Why that is, would you?
I practice a lot. Like I have over 10,000 recordings on my phone. I'm a little crazy.
You can tell. It really is impressive.
That reminds me. I forgot to listen to to you speaking Spanish in the main with the characters that you voice.
Oh my
god! I didn't hear that yet.
That last line that Turning just said, when I first read that in the script, oh boy, did I really not start feeling good in my chest.
COVID Al.
I had a very bad feeling.
It's still COVID me.
COVID Al.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, you're not the only one. There's COVID Diamond Tiara, but thankfully, I think it was because everyone in my family had COVID. I must have had it. But it definitely hit differently than it did the second time. But I managed to have so few symptoms I could somehow still voice act.
During your testimony yesterday, you never mentioned anything about them. Did you hear anything of that sort that night?
Spanish dub.
I heard one when I was just passing by Zecora's house.
released the Spanish dub. Hi, Melody, by the way.
If only I was bilingual.
So you heard two? And Zecora,
I'm just bi.
You still maintain you
I feel like Diamond Tiara in Spanish would be hilarious.
Oh, it's a Zecora jump scare!
Defense, you need to head inside.
Just one more question.
It's Al.
It's me.
Ow!
Did it differ in any way from the second one?
I guess a little. Like, the first one was much louder than the other one. They were both metallic sounding.
Louder, huh? Then that would mean...
Speaking of crashing into Royal Order, I'm not sure what it means, but you said he was wearing armor?
He should have been, yeah. That's what Sweetie used to scare away the Timberwolves.
But he wasn't wearing any armor when I crashed into him.
He was naked.
He was.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Ow.
Athena, you need to get
I remember like when I had to do the
Bailiff.
defense, when I did the defense line, like I did like 10 different like takes, but I was saying defense instead of defense. So I was I think Soundman or someone else. So told me to like, hey, redo these again, but pronounce it right this time. I forgot if it was Soundman or somebody else, but like I had to redo them.
Oh.
Also, SOJ.
Oh wait, it was Pat. Never mind.
I think sometimes I had to re-record stuff because of how I do my vowels. What I normally say in natural speech, I don't think is how most people say stuff. Like I always like to use bison and bison as an example.
Also, finally the SOJ courtroom begins theme.
Yeah, the one time it gets used is the final time.
Those eyes
Yeah.
have not dwindled with age, Your
It's
Honor.
almost symbolic, or maybe it is symbolic.
I am a bit hesitant. I cannot
To this
foresee what
series,
path this
Spirit of
testimony
Justice.
will lead us.
Prosecutor Luna?
Yes, Miss Sykes?
Do you remember what you told me last night?
This stuff.
But still, I believe you must, if nothing else, trust that in the end, the truth will be found. Never mind what the lawkeeper has said.
I know, but it's hard sometimes. Like stumbling around in the dark hoping you'll find a light switch. Except you don't know if the room you're in even
That's
has
from the
one.
movie Spotlight.
Trust is a leap of faith, Athena. That's all it ever is. I do, yes.
You trust
I like hearing about what lines are refers to what.
Yeah.
I'm ambivalent about this part of scene 2 because it's just
I shall then, Miss Sykes.
the issue I have with it is that it's telegraphing themes rather than naturally letting themes unfold.
Right.
And I've noticed that in case 2, that happens a lot to the point where, yes, it is nice to have a little bit of a, acknowledgement of what themes we want to discuss or explore. Problem is, when you telegraph it that much, the power of those themes erodes over time. And by 2.8, these platitudes about trust and truth, they feel a little bit overdone. Definitely in the future, I want to cut down on such explications. I'd rather work on incorporating what is called iceberg theory of thematic writing, or other techniques like symbolism, imagery, metaphors, illusions. Just, vary up how themes are presented rather than just relying on buzzwords and testimony in text, that kind of stuff.
I was there for a long time.
Writing, am I right?
I don't really remember
Writing.
for how long exactly.
Phoenix writing.
All of it
Phoenix
was a blur.
writing.
After a while, I left the statue seeing that
It
no
was
one
so weird
around.
not screaming in Sweetie Belle's voice and having to actually be chill and nonchalant.
Wait a moment. You mean to say you were almost killed that night by wild
Killed? Can't say that word, Judge. TVY
Can't say that
13.
word.
My word. I knew those animals were brutes, but I never imagined they'd go so far as to attack a random filly.
I love Despio as a judge. So fun to listen to.
Danger in this world, let alone one so close to somewhere as idyllic as Ponyville.
What's up with Prosecutor Luna?
It is indeed
Oh,
fortunate that the
this is
Belle
a
did not
reference
pull
again
the
to a poem by John Donne, and also a reference to Ernest Hemingway and his book For Whom the Bell Tolls.
And also, in reference of Sweetie
Reference
Belle,
to the episode.
The episode as well.
Which is
Yeah.
itself a reference to both Hemingway and John Donne.
it's a deep reference.
For whom the Sweetie Belle tolls or something?
Yep.
That's the episode. The Hemingway book is called For Whom the Bell Tolls, and then John Donne's poem, whose name I unfortunately forget, contains the line, "Look not to who the bell tolls, it tolls for thee." So,
And why the statue?
see, we have a little bit of literary backing.
Yes, you do.
Fine. It was because I found Scootaloo's note in Carousel Boutique.
Scootaloo's note?
This one, Your Honor. It's Scootaloo's confession to Rarity for taking a roll of gold and silk in order to fulfill the blackmailer's demand.
After I
This note
found
has
the
an-
note, I considered following
Yeah.
her and turning into the forest to stop them.
And why was
James, you're
that?
cutting out.
You're cutting out, James.
I just say that that note hasn't appeared for quite a while.
Cost Rarity a small fortune.
Mm.
And Scootaloo stole it right from under my nose.
2-2, right?
I didn't want Rarity to find out, or she
Well, I guess
totally
2-4 at some point too.
didn't want Scootaloo to do anything
Last time it
dumb.
appeared, but I could be
What would
wrong.
more dumb than stealing from my sister?
It appeared a year ago in real time. Did you guys know that the 2-year anniversary to Case 2 starts in May?
Ew, 3 years?
2-year anniversary.
Two years. Still, 2 years. That's disgusting.
Illumination spell and started running towards it.
And yet time will pass anyway.
Describe this noise for us?
It was loud and metallic, like a clang.
That's not including all the time spent on the pre-production of Case 2 either.
That noise seems to be at the center of everything. Zecora and Diamond Tiara heard one, and Silver Spoon heard two.
So there is actually some foreshadowing with the clang noise.
Must have been one of them.
It's explained in the episode, but there are different clangs. The one that killed Royal Order, you can actually hear it in the very first episode. It's the
Yeah,
same
it's
clang.
The same exact clan.
I think it also, like, the differences also show up in 2.6, if I recall correctly, when they're talking about the clang in Verity's Fatigue.
Yeah, because that's when we got the Sweetie Belle clang from Spirit of Justice's DLC.
Let's get back to the testimony.
Different.
It really was a load of baloney.
Everyone is going after Ross Load of Baloney.
Timberwolves approaching the area.
So the Timberwolves were in the area when you arrived at the statue and started to approach?
Yes, that's correct.
Did you see anything else near the statue besides those Timberwolves?
Yeah, actually. There was a big blood stain out in front of the statue.
God, the way she says
and
that.
also a set of armor.
That armor, no doubt, must have belonged
Yeah, I
to
noticed
the
that
royal
like
whom
Art's
Scootaloo
like
crashed into.
your Sweetie Belle got better and better as
Except she claims
every
that
episode goes
Royal Order wasn't
comes
wearing
through like.
So how did it get there?
Oh really? Like
it used to sound
way
just
better.
okay to me in the first few episodes, to literally almost sounding like the canon voice itself.
Episode 2, Sweetie Belle. We don't talk about that.
There wasn't a body.
That means the Timberwolves must have already eaten the body and were in the process of leaving when Sweetie Belle came
That was
along.
before I knew you were going for like season 1 Sweetie Belle. I thought you were going for older Sweetie Belle.
She saw Sweetie Belle trip Royal Order. The body had not yet been eaten by Timberwolves.
No, if it was older Sweetie Belle, this would be like what
However,
season 9,
Atmosphere Devotion suggested
and she has
Yeah.
and she took that whatever that thing was called.
Season 9.
that night.
Yeah.
She might have been so traumatized that she only thought she saw
Basically,
Sweetie Belle
less
trip
like
him.
Sweetie Belle, more like the
That
voice
still leaves
actors,
Miss
I think is what I was
Devotion's
doing.
testimony to contradict this one.
Yeah.
I feel way
Defense,
tweakier.
Tell me you have a plan for resolving that issue.
I do, of course.
Let me cook,
Just,
Luna. I'm cooking.
Don't expect it right now,
Yeah.
okay?
I have a lot of patience.
Let me
Miss
cook
Ice.
Luna, and then you
worry.
hear the gears in her head grinding and making her head smoke.
Sugars and Fair's entire testimonies, which have been definitive since they back each other up. But in order to do that, I'll first have to break Sweetie Belle's testimony.
Witness, please continue.
One of them attacked me. I managed to scare it off, and afterwards, I hid behind the statue. Hold it.
Were you injured by this attack?
A little bit. It scratched my right foreleg, enough for me to bleed a little.
Which
A little?
A little.
blood was found at the scene.
Yeah. How did you scare off the Timberwolf exactly?
It was simple, really. I used the armor to do it.
What do you mean?
Timberwolves don't like loud sounds. My friend Applebloom once told me about how her granny scared off
There's a
a
blooper for this.
using nothing but a frying
Yeah, I know. I have the blooper of you like basically making Sweetie Belle do like her best impression of Apple Bloom.
Wait, like
I like
Sweetie
it
Belle
quite a bit.
trying to attempt to do Apple Bloom's voice? How would that work?
And
I
around
don't know.
what time did you hit the armor pieces
No
together?
blooper spoilers either.
Not sure, to be honest.
Well,
That's like next level voice acting.
we can figure it out.
Yeah,
You
only.
heard the first clanging noise
Yeah,
at
that's right.
10:15,
Yeah.
didn't you?
Yes, that's right.
And afterwards, you started
Oh
heading
god,
towards
timing.
where you thought it was coming from, the statue. How long did it take you to arrive?
Pain.
I meant to just refresh the stream itself on the call, but I accidentally left call.
Oof.
If not on it, you then hit the armor pieces together, maybe around the same time, eliciting a loud clanging sound. Does that sound about right, Sweetie Belle?
Yeah.
I remember for this one in the script, it said to draw out the E on yeah. I don't know why, but it made it sound less convincing.
Kind of show that Sweet Belle's like sort of following along, but isn't quite sure why she's following along.
Ah.
It's because I thought I heard someone
She
crying,
child.
and I was afraid
She
it was
Brain
more
not fully developed yet.
more Timberwolves
She baby.
or a manticore or something worse. So I hid, using my magic to hide the blood trail that I left while walking behind the statue.
That's a long ass sentence.
What happened next?
Sorry, cursed on stream. Oh, it's so over.
It's so over.
I don't really remember for how long.
This testimony feels really long, just like some of the long testimonies we've done in the past, but I'm not sure whether it's because it feels a lot more important or it's better paced, but I don't really like feel it as much as in the past.
Seems awfully calm about this whole thing.
This is the first time that Sweetie Belle's actually saying
You
anything.
never saw whoever was coming your way?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
we've been basically building up to this moment, for most of the case, for like Sweetie Belle to finally talk. So I think that's part of the reason it doesn't feel quite as dragged on.
Blood loss that would indeed appear to be plausible. We can't expect you to remember how.
Oh, that allergy pill is finally kicking in now. What
Uh-oh.
minute are we at? Are we at? Oh, we're at 30 minutes. Oh,
We're at 30
no.
minutes in. Come on, you can survive this.
I have an hour and a half to somehow survive.
Plus 2.5.
I have an hour and 45 minutes to 40 and 33 minutes to survive.
But I didn't really think about it.
Unless something goes wrong.
I understand, defendant.
Yeah, I didn't want to get eaten by wolves.
What did you do immediately afterwards?
After a while, I left the statue seeing that no one was around. I made myself a tourniquet and went to Zecora's hut to look for a healing potion.
Finally, the objection.
That's a cap.
Sweetie Belle, you're saying you made yourself a tourniquet, then made your way to Zecora's hut. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what happened.
I don't think so.
What?
You made your tourniquet out of forest debris, and that, I'm afraid, would have been impossible
Cap,
for you.
cap and a half.
Why is that?
Because, Your Honor,
It's a really interesting dynamic how she's the defendant, but Athena's still late.
Also, hell
really
yeah,
hostile
Courtroom
witness.
Revolution. Yeah, hell yeah, Courtroom Revolutionaire 2016. I picked out the take that the song plays on there with the assumption that that's where we were gonna play Courtroom Revolutionaire.
how do you explain that?
Gave a lot of oomph to the like dealing blow, so to speak.
Why?
It's the best version. It just doesn't play at all in the series. In one case.
And bleeding. You just passed out.
It's my I think it's like my absolute favorite objection theme in the whole series.
You'd probably be too rattled to be able to concentrate on making sure every drop of your blood didn't end up on the forest floor. So again, why would you bother trying?
Well, used my magic to grab stuff from the tree line to make a tourniquet.
But that doesn't add up either, Sweetie Belle. You and I both know that your magic hasn't
Twilight.
developed that much yet.
Ouch.
I love that part.
Yeah, I was
it
doing it
has.
off screen.
Well, I can't deny that, I suppose.
I just love the way she said it. He's like, yes, it has. You just don't know. Yeah.
Oh,
She really thinks she's cooking
you
here.
should be able to recreate it for us right now.
Uh-oh.
Recreate it?
Defense? Surely you're not asking the defendant to go back into the Everfree Forest just to grab a bunch of material? And surely
I
you
love
don't
this joke.
expect us to go in there with her?
Yeah.
See, guys, there is humor. It just takes a while.
We already have some forest debris here.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things you guys improved on a lot throughout this case is that you started. There's a lot more humor in the second half of the case compared to the first half.
Yeah.
Remove the nullifier.
Humor is hard to do, for sure.
It
Go on,
is.
Sweetie Belle.
Unless it's my kind of humor.
It's hard to do well, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so for this part, I remember Bruno, I think it was Bruno, requested improv for Sweetie Belle making the tourniquet. Like, this wasn't a line in the original script. And I wanted to make it convincingly unconvincing, for lack of better words. Like, she obviously doesn't know what she's doing. She's just saying, like,
The thing goes with that, and then,
I believe I misheard you.
like, I couldn't make it, I couldn't any of the, like, names of the parts of the tourniquet or anything like that. So that was really fun.
You basically have to act like she's know what she's doing.
And it's funny because I didn't know what a tourniquet was either, so I was actually clueless.
You were just
Method
as confused
acting,
as she
folks.
was.
It's called method acting.
It is method acting.
Gotta love for voice actors.
I didn't make a tourniquet. I just used a bunch of stuff I
Can I just say as well, I love for how long this absolute banger of a song plays for. And normally it's really risky to have one song playing for such a long time, but because of how universally loved this song is, as well as how long the loop itself is in the first place, we could actually make it work
Does
here.
that also mean you knew where exactly she stored them?
Well, yeah, duh.
Worth it. Definitely should be this
Show
one.
the court from which cupboard you took the healing potion?
'Cause it's so rarely used.
Basically, what you're saying is we need more Athena Sykes motifs.
I'm sorry, Sweetie Belle. That is
I
incorrect.
love me
She has-
some Athena Sykes motifs.
Athena Sykes
She has so
motifs.
few. I think she's
Because that night,
the games. She only has one other official remix. It's so sad.
potion from Zecora. Some pony else did both.
An Athena Sykes motif. We'll never hear that. Everyone's just
Oh,
humming.
I love this song so much.
Yeah, it's really good.
Who aided Miss Sweetie Belle in both of these endeavors?
And now it's when it fades out.
Make this count. Let me think.
Is it Glasses Pony?
Says
Glasses
no one else
Billy?
was at the statue besides Sweetie Belle.
And custom track.
Yeah.
There were other ponies in the forest that night.
Yeah, thank you for making a custom logic track.
You're welcome.
Originally, this was gonna be magic and tricks from Justice for All. I am so glad we did not go with that.
It'd have to be some pony who knows how to make a tourniquet and
Yeah, the custom logic track really quite a few in this case, and to avoid being repetitive, the custom one really helped.
And also, like, yeah, honestly, just a much better choice than what we originally were gonna use here.
It's like
It's definitely very subtle.
Yeah, it's definitely very subtle. It's like if you can't really find a track that would fit, make your own.
do, Your Honor. In fact, they're in the lobby right now, ready to testify.
And the fact that we can even do that is, I think, awesome.
So case 2 OST when?
Honestly, finding
Eventually.
a song short
Yes.
enough for like this reveal was a miracle in itself. Because honestly, like, It was more of a thing that I wanted that would have been nice if we could do it. I wasn't expecting us to actually be able to put anything here.
Know how to make a rudimentary tourniquet.
No, wait!
Thankfully, Professor is the treasure trove.
The defense has that right. And besides,
Based Professor Layton games.
I should really play the Layton games, especially when I heard of like the new one that was announced.
Take them too seriously and you'll have fun.
Diamond Tiara is just...
Diamond Tiara is just here because she's like, I'm not leaving my gal behind. What a good friend. I'm sure we'll never see anything that really twists that knife in this episode.
What are you doing here?
Look at me, I'm Diamond Tiara.
It's her.
It's still perfect that we use Look at Me's theme for her.
Yeah. So fitting.
Yes, I can see
With how much of an
And her body needs
attention-seeking child she is, especially in both the show and here.
Why was I asked to come back here? I already testified yesterday.
We'd like to hear once again the actions you took on the night of Royal Order's death, Silver Spoon.
We already told you everything that happened! Can't you just look over the court transcript?
I'm glad I got to voice Diamond Tiara again.
Oh,
Yeah,
whiny DT is hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, whiny DT.
Silver Spoon would rather be anywhere else.
I love whining. It's one of the most fun things to do when you're doing an over-the-top character.
It really is.
It's
really funny. Really good at that.
That's why I love doing
It even carries over to your bloopers. I love your Diamond Tiara bloopers.
When I'm like, I'm having fun in a role or really enjoying a project when the bloopers are insane, because that's when I'm really getting into the role and I'm having a positive mindset about everything. And it really comes through in the humor I give when I screw up.
And that I'm not just firing into the dark.
Daddy would probably make my punishment worse. Buy me one of those cheap fast food options instead of one of those fancy options.
Oh,
And I
look
love
at
this
Silver
shit.
taking charge.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Silver who's taking
I
charge,
saw-
like a flip. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait.
I saw people in chat point that out. Shift in the
Yeah.
dynamic.
Speaking of the drift and the dynamic, that also happens with the music too. It's not SOJ Allegro, but JFA Allegro, because Philby is very much tied to Sweetie Belle in this instance.
Afterwards, he threw DT's crown into the gorge and ran off.
This is why everyone when we add music to the series, like we don't do it just because willy-nilly or it sounds cool. There's a legit reason why we put those tracks in there.
We think about it far too much.
Yeah,
I think
like,
way
ask
too
Joel
much
and,
than any one person ever should.
Yeah, just ask Joel and James, like they're the ones that's putting like the OST together, and yeah, it's.
Oh, trust me, there's an upcoming moment in this episode that went through several revisions. I think you guys know what we're talking about.
Yes, Your Honor.
Real quick,
See,
you'll notice whenever I say zebra is Diamond Tiara, I put like a very specific emphasis, like that zebra, because she sounds very derogatory when she says it like that.
Ew.
I noticed that.
That's disgusting.
Like, I mean, she literally just refers to Zecora, who has a name as that zebra. So I really always had fun kind of putting the emphasis on zebra.
Yeah, that's a really fun part of like voice acting, making the characters your own, kind of.
Yeah.
For sure. And one of the ways to do that is by deciding where to place them. That changes.
Only Scoodle and her co-friend.
But yeah, using Justice for All Allegro here because we used Justice for All testimony music for Sweetie Belle and Sylvie is very much important to her, like I said earlier.
It's actually like it's a very nice touch that carries over from Turnabout Storm, because they did the same thing. Like they used what's it called? Yeah, Justice for All's testimony themes for Fluttershy, And they used what else? What else was used?
I know we used Trials and Tribulations music for Gilda.
For Gilda, yeah. Apple Bloom was Apollo Justice's. And Sonata was Ace Attorney 1.
This game. Yeah.
I also love like testimony, JFA's testimony in general. Like, it's unsettling to me.
It doesn't actually feel like you're winning.
Yeah.
It feels more like it's a desperate
Really
situation
different.
that you're not doing well.
And the
that you're
time
in trouble.
signature of this song, it's so weird.
I can understand.
Feels more like as opposed to fighting with the witnesses. Feels more like a dance almost.
If you played Justice for All, you'll understand why it feels that way.
Yeah.
So I need a Diamond Tiara to guide me down the steps.
Could you add that to your testimony then?
Sure.
Yeah, and then works really well in this scenario, considering the grave implications of what we're trying to prove here.
You're saying that your glasses were broken? That doesn't seem quite right to me, Silver Spoon.
But they were broken. It's just like I told you yesterday during the trial.
As I recall, defense, you were the ones to first postulate, based on the discovery of the glass shards, that glasses were indeed broken. We even verified that the shards belonged to Miss Silverspoon's glasses during the recess.
That is true, Prosecutor Luna. But there was a vital detail that I think you failed to mention as part of that report.
What would that be?
Those glass shards came from
We did some like retrospective about like the writing overall, like in terms of seeing one earlier, and now I kind of want to share my own retrospective when it came to like picking out the OST for this episode, because I really overestimated how long the silence here was. Like in retrospect, maybe it could have used like a logic theme or something before we went back to the Allegro.
Yeah.
I think here the music should have stopped entirely, right? When Susan says it's true. Because
it was mainly fine because
But that means that you stuck with your friend the whole time.
I think you cut out, James.
James, you cut out, I think.
silence is fine, mainly just because Silverspoon confesses immediately and then start talking about other things.
Yeah.
Athena's right.
One of the hardest parts I've learned in making music is figuring out when to rest.
Yeah.
Why is this detail
Yeah.
important, Athena?
That's like one of the most difficult parts of brainstorming the OST for me, is figuring out like when music should start and when it should end.
Her being able to see at all.
For me, it comes down to whether or not the music is necessary to achieve something that the script or the lines themselves don't already achieve.
Yeah.
With
The irony of-
testimony, it's a given. You always have music.
Yeah.
But in those spaces between, it's a matter of, okay, do I need a song? And if so, what kind of song? If I don't need a song, why is that the case?
Yeah, the irony of creating the OST, figuring out when not to use a track.
And now we bring Allegro back here because we're going back to the testimony.
Yeah.
The body has a name, Silver Spoon.
Oh my god.
You two had gone down into the gorge looking for Diamond Tiara's crown. After you found it, you left. But during that time,
I think I've heard a nursery rhyme about that exact same thing.
Of note. I mean, we did hear that clang sound while we were looking for it.
But there wasn't just one clang heard that night, Diamond Tiara. There were, in fact, two.
Yes, we established that in the previous trial. There was the one that Zecora, Diamond Tiara, and Silverspoon heard, and then there was the one that Silverspoon alone heard. It was
I'm
suggested
curious
that
to
it might
see
come from
who knew
inside
that the second
castle,
clang would be
perhaps
relevant.
from something falling.
Suggested, yes, but not supported. However, that's not my point. Thanks to a little help from Scootaloo, as well as what we
It doesn't
just
happen
heard from
too
Sweetie Belle,
often in here or in the games themselves, but sometimes I like when we make like a big point like big argument without like actually having to make the actual objection itself. If that makes sense.
I asked Zecora
Yeah.
and Scootaloo about these clings.
It's like you pressed everything, and you're like, all right, let's actually move on.
Also heard one when she was passing by Zecora's house, but that night she heard a second clang, just before she crashed into Royal Order at the crossroads. Now, do you remember what we just heard from Sweetie Belle? What she did in order to scare off those Timberwolves?
She banged the armor pieces together, making a clanging sound.
And that was, of course, after Zecora left her.
I love that timing.
Sweetie hid the pieces together at around
It's great.
10:25. That's why Zecora didn't hear a second clang. She wasn't nearby.
So this second clang was heard by Miss Scootaloo and Miss Silver Spoon, then?
That's right, Your Honor. But if you think about it, that should be possible.
Why is that?
Scootaloo said she heard that clang when she was at the crossroads, and that clang came from Sweetie Belle, who was at the Nightmare Moon statue.
I love this visual right here.
Locations, we see their short distance.
Yeah, the use of the diagram here is really good. Especially because it has to do with sound, which is something that's rarely used. It's probably the only time I'll praise this case, but this actually reminds me a lot of Turnabout Serenade, with how the sound is used in that case.
Like stuff like this, like visual stuff, helps out a lot with understanding this case, because I totally get when people are like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. There's only so much that words on a paper can convey, after all.
Yeah.
Diamond Tiara claimed. Instead, she was close enough to the statue
And cornering together. Let's go.
Your Honor, it is the defense's belief that instead of following
Silver
Diamond
Spoon's
Tiara
little
down the
reaction
gorge,
noises.
Silver Spoon
It always sounds
Yeah.
like a
after Scootaloo
dying
and Turning
dolphin.
Page. She made her way through the forest, all the way to the crossroads, hearing both clangs along the way.
Wow, she ran fast.
She headed for the statue where she found Sweetie Belle injured and unconscious.
Oh, this is so
As
sweet.
I said before, Silver Spoon has a bit of a background in medicine, since both her parents are
She also looks kind of. Oh my! Doesn't
Yeah.
look too concerned that.
Also, these stills, were not done by me. Like,
What?
I mean, the
This one was made
sketches
by
were done by me,
me.
but this is when, like, I was like, you know what? These stills, there's too many of them for one person. I need help with it. So, we had, like, a few, artists in the team.
Wasn't that Mint who made the four-leg one?
I think
I
so,
think it was
and I think yeah, and then it was Saturn, aka Beppy, was the one who did the Silver finding Sweetie Belle unconscious. Like you can see that like the foundation was done by me, but everything else was done by the other artists. Because like I did the original sketch, they just did everything else. Because I wanted to keep like the original like art style of, because that's been consistent throughout this entire series. But recently we're all learning how to like make a general style to EOJ. That way, no matter who you are, it'll be consistent. They're called style guides, everybody.
I think it's just good to take some of the load off you as well, because there are quite a few stills in this case.
Oh my god, you're right. It's like every episode.
That's
like
a really good
the amount
objection.
of. Oh yeah, I do love that objection. It's an adorable
Oh, no.
objection.
On this line right here. I was this close to making a liar reference before I said that's too many references.
Aw, that's like one of my favorite comedy
Objection,
movies.
Your Honor. On what ground? That's
Sounds
not
like-
my case.
I love how
Dismissed. Good call.
That movie is iconic.
Oh, Jim Carrey. But yeah, I was this close, and then I said, "Nope, that's a little." Reel it back. We can't have
That would
so
have been
many.
so funny though.
Honestly, it feels more like a line that DT wouldn't make or something if you reword it slightly.
And Silver Spoon,
Your Honor, I
You can make it
object.
more of an
On what
homage.
grounds?
This is a detriment to my social status.
Dismissed. Good call. Overruled.
I remember when Twilight said Sans Zecora, like everyone's saying Sans.
Yeah. I thought that was going to become a meme. I was so scared when I realized that we put Sanzakor in.
Wait, did I pronounce it wrong?
No, you did.
Sans.
People
I
mean
didn't
that a
actually know
lot,
that was a word
but
until I saw it used
Yeah.
in Zootopia and someone explained it to me.
I known it was the word before I
Yep, sorry. Pulling from
found out
like
about
French
that.
and Latin or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
People
weird.
like to meme.
Legally, it shows up a lot in legal.
Not a lot, but it's a Undertale's a legitimately good game.
Dude, what if the defendant in case 3 was Sans from Undertale? Whoa.
What?
Whoa. I can feel MV readying a weapon at me after I said that.
You really think so?
My client did not kill that child.
Certain of it than I've ever been, Twilight.
So anyway, if you guys donate right now, I will make Sans the defendant in case...
Hey, hold on. Listen. To do anything for money is Julius's job.
But he's not here. So...
He will do anything for money.
He'll do anything for
He
money.
will do anything for money.
There's one more detail I would like to get an explanation for from Miss Silver Spoon.
One more detail?
Miss Sykes,
Yes, Prosecutor Luna?
we have a saying here in Equestria.
Oh boy, a
Wary
saying.
of those who lead you down the garden path, promising
So be wary of Discord, got it.
turns.
Yep.
So far, you have been objecting at various
So that's a
points
reference to
during
the
this
labyrinth?
trial, hinting it would seem at some larger
Actually, no. It's just a saying that I've heard, and I thought that it could be used here.
Oh, okay.
It just
I think
it just
good thing.
unintentionally ends up working. Like that's a good reference for that as well.
Where are you
I
taking
think language is fun when you use it correctly and efficiently.
And when will these many winding roads cease, allowing us clear passage?
I mean, to be fair, Luna, you kind of were doing the same thing in the first trial.
Prosecutor Luna, but this will be the last time I take us down those winding roads.
But she's been leading them down, but it's not a garden path. Athena so far has been leading them towards whatever destination she has in mind, but she hasn't cared to reveal it. Luna's criticism is that whereas she has a direct goal and a direct path, Athena seems to be just taking many left and right turns.
Wondering
Hence the garden
A lot of detours, but
Yeah.
leads to the same goal.
Of course, from Athena's perspective, it did kind of feel like a detour when Luna did it to her. At least until she found out in a later episode, of course, what Luna was trying to do. Or realized it, rather.
The deceased son.
I am Prosecutor Luna. However, I think you'll find it's far too soon for us to definitively say that Miss Sugar Stamp is responsible for writing and sending it.
Why is that, defense?
Because of this.
Another magazine?
That's right. But this isn't just an ordinary magazine. If you flip through it, you'll see that a few...
That's right, Prosecutor Luna. You're no longer facing an ordinary magazine. It's realized the legend.
This is Advanced Magazine.
Where was this magazine discovered?
In the home of Diamond Tiara.
Oh, snap.
What?
Did you say Diamond Tiara?
Forgive the judge, he's a little hard of hearing.
So you're telling me that Diamond Tiara did something seedy in this case? What?
The Wilsonator is so good at making the judge sound angry when he needs to be.
Yeah.
Or serious.
Yeah.
Angry,
Little side
like,
note,
angry judge is so fun to listen to.
Little side note, I love how the witnesses on the stand that sometimes will do their own little animations independent of each other.
That'll take way too much work, but I kind of want to do it now.
I always like when the witnesses like react to what's going on in general.
Diamond Tiara, that's what I meant.
Must have sent it.
Yeah, it gives them like a bit more life when they like react to like certain phrases that other characters are saying and whatnot. Like visibly react.
And if only we had the animation department.
And
to
here's
pull
the
that
joke.
off.
That's besides the point.
Putting her boss under the bus.
Just completely throwing him under it.
Or Phoenix.
He was really the butt of joke. He was pretty much the butt monkey in this case.
That's because we don't have Larry Butts, so gotta go with the next best thing.
Another joke.
So it is intent.
Being one of the ones Photo Finish made when she was
Phoenix, the butt of jokes,
in that
is
episode with Fluttershy.
Yeah, Athena, I don't think we want to know how long the judge was here last time.
Envelope tells us it was thrown away before this magazine. That envelope could only have been thrown away on Hearts and Hooves Day.
jokes. That's kind of intentional because in Listeners in the Spirit of Justice, they kind of have a tendency to deify him a bit, treat him as if he's like untouchable.
Top of the envelope. That means it's impossible that Diamond Tiara could have sent the tip. She'd have sent it too late.
Exactly! Finally, you said something smart.
Even her compliments are like so insulting.
Yes, it would.
I love this. Like, I only agree with you when it helps me.
So ungrateful.
Couldn't have been stashed there by the pony who said she sent it. Sugar stamp. She'd already been arrested by the time she arrived in Ponyville.
Logical. That means the sender must be some pony who was in Diamond Tiara's bedroom.
I just love doing Diamond Tiara. I'm so glad I get to do her for another project. A little bit of promotion, I guess. What's it called? Element of Kindness. That's it, by Blue Heart Tattoo. It's such a cute, fun thing, and the CMC feature pretty heavily forward. Pretty exciting.
Well, when Sylvie came to my
At least from what I saw with episode 2, at least.
Well, the foreboding team is done now. I always like the way how accurate we kept the use of foreboding to the actual game is from. How it like adds in extra instruments when we make progress.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It was placed outside the entrance to the Ponyville police station without any pony notice.
Yeah, that's kind of how it's used. When you present evidence, it changes to the one that has more instruments to it.
Another good thing about having variety of music is that songs like this suspense theme playing right now don't have to be overplayed a million times like they are in the games.
Yeah.
It was around 4:30. It went on for about half an hour.
The tip was delivered around 4:45 p.m. on the 13th.
Little stuff like that adds up.
Getting her glasses replaced.
Even that tiny piece of information.
She couldn't have sent it.
And when we said 2-5 mattered, it mattered.
Yeah, 2-5 mattered.
If she wasn't the one to deliver it.
I love how the little things, when you get to the trials, just build up. You see it all come together. And it's just like the most satisfying thing. It's like, oh, I remember that. That was important. Oh, wow. It's all, and then it comes together when you go back and rewatch. And you're like, oh, I see.
That's what we call foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Quite a lot of it.
It's the most fun thing in writing, in my opinion, because it's just that aha moment.
Yeah.
And there's so many ways you can go about it. It's really a lot of fun.
And it depends on what you're able to tell us.
Sylvie. Just trust me, okay? I'm doing this for your sake.
Oh, Diamond Tiara being a good friend. I'm sure that'll never come back to me, but
That's never gonna happen again.
The sincerity in her voice there.
I know.
Yeah. I also kind of love how this is such a swap from 2-4 and how it was Diamond leading everything, and anytime Silver spoke up, it made things quote-unquote worse. But now this time, it's the opposite.
Right.
The flipperoonie.
I know the answer, Your Honor.
The switcheroo.
Yes, and it has to do with something that happened yesterday, too. While we were out investigating in preparation for defending Sweetie Belle, we learned from Apple Bloom that there'd been a break-in at Carousel Boutique.
We'd heard of that break-in earlier, too.
A break-in? Oh dear. Has the perpetrator been found?
While the police have cordoned off the area and are conducting their own investigation, regrettably, they have not yet found the culprit.
And neither did we when we searched the boutique after hearing of the incident. But we did find some clues as to their identity. Namely, a few drops of blood. Rarity's cat, Opalescence, had attacked them.
Just want to say, like, Opalescence must have, like, cut pretty deep to bleed that much.
On the stand, some pony who just
Those are some claws right there.
Opaling. I said, I mean, Opal has like even more intelligence than the average cat, and forced by the looks of it.
Wait, did I say Opaline?
This twist also, man, this twist here is just insane. When I first read the script here, to this case, I legitimately thought that we weren't gonna find out like who even broke into Carousel Boutique, and that was gonna be like a later case thing.
Carousel Boutique was completely locked up. All the windows,
But
all
no,
the doors.
it's actually like tied to like the overall mystery in this case.
Not unless she had an accomplice, such as a unicorn to teleport her. And who would
And not everything's the affiliate case.
That's what we thought too. But what if we've all been wrong about that?
Wrong?
We've all been assuming that the boutique was fully locked up. We know that it was after the crime, but we don't know for sure if it was locked up before. It is quite possible that the true perpetrator had already entered and only locked up the place when they were leaving.
That is still speculation, Golden Pixie.
Maybe not, Prosecutor Luna. Has any pony taken a look at the front door's lock?
The front door's lock?
Yeah, this part.
It's not an ordinary kind of lock. It's specifically a thumb-turned cylinder lock. The way it works is that it can be locked from the inside while the door is open, and then the door.
Oh yeah, this is the variation of the pursuit theme as well.
Actually, no, I think that's later on.
Yeah, it's just the original for now.
Right. I got confused because the part where it loops played for longer, like if it was the variation, which it doesn't do that in the game.
Preposterous! In order for that to work, Defense, some pony would have to leave one of the entrances to the boutique unlocked for the perpetrator to enter at all. But Miss Rarity already told the police that she'd locked up the place before she headed to yesterday's trial, so there was no pony else around to unlock it.
No pony else? I'm not sure about that, Prosecutor Luna. There was, in fact, one pony who could have done that deed. They'd be the
And his name is John Cena. I'm really old.
Then, who is this mysterious pony, Miss Sykes?
It was the only other pony who'd been with Rarity that very same day. Sweetie Belle.
There's the variation.
Yeah, this moment warrants it.
That's one thing that I want to keep doing.
Before Sweetie Belle left with Rarity for yesterday's trial,
I actually like kept the list of like what tracks based on like a specific suit we have tied to a case we haven't used yet, and I basically like made sure that we actually used like the variations of the pursuit things we haven't used yet before the case ends.
Yeah, the variation versions have always been a little bit better for me personally.
I think I get what you mean,
Yeah.
Athena. And I'm even pretty sure
I'm not sure how to feel about this whole subplot, to be completely honest. Because it's... I guess my main feeling is ambivalence because of how Carousel Boutique is tied to the main events of Case 2. Like, I understand that it was necessary, but it's ironic that Athena should begin this entire sequence by saying, I'm not going to take us down another winding path. This will just be the final one. But then this winding path ends up being larger than a single wider path. It's larger than a single winding path, right? In terms of just the sheer scope of it. So, in some ways, I guess it could be a demonstration of how much stronger Athena has become, but as a narrative decision, it makes 2-8 a very complicated case with these multiple subplots that don't always mesh cleanly and sometimes feel like we are just kind of wandering all around over the thing itself. So on paper, the subplot has relevance. And how Athena breaks down its relevancy is good, but by adding it on top of everything else, I think we ran the risk of the subplot becoming bloated by other contexts.
Yeah. Luckily, it worked out fairly well in this case, but it is something that we have to be really careful about.
It works out because the characterizations of Sweetie Belle and Silver Spoon mesh it together, which we'll see in the forthcoming scene, I'm pretty sure. But as it stands, now that we have a fresh set of eyes looking at it, my sense is that even if this subplot was necessary, it needed to be streamlined a little bit more. A little more nuance, a little more finesse. It's rough, basically.
I think a lot of the plot points and concepts are good on paper, just that the execution of some of them leave a bit to be desired, if that makes sense.
But why? What were you looking for in the boutique?
It was the magazine, wasn't it? Diamond Tiara said you brought it to her house.
I feel like this moment,
part,
you must have gone
go ahead.
to the boutique in order to
I like it because the initial idea was that this would have to be explained by Silver Spoon, but it's nice that Princess Luna kind of cuts off that entire part entirely, and is able to infer it's the magazine. So it shows that Luna's smart enough to actually, follow through on things.
A very competent prosecutor.
Yeah, and I think this is a moment where people are starting to make the connections. Wait a minute, then the person who made the note was, oh no. And I think it's really shown with Luna, piecing it together, right here. That's when she realized.
You can just feel the disappointment right now. That she most likely feels.
Whoa, she looks tired.
Me too, Luna. That allergy pill really kicks hard, doesn't it?
She's like, oh, these fucking children. Oh my fucking god. I gotta be everyone's mother.
It is.
Then.
Man, I thought you would have learned by now after what you almost did to your own sister.
Luna's
actually, I think this takes place before.
Out of selfishness. This wasn't done out of selfishness.
Even though it was at the same
catching
time.
up to Athena for once.
That anonymous tip. It was whoever owned that magazine and could cut it up. That can only be Sweetie Belle herself.
Yep.
Yeah. This confessed the truth from Justice for All. This cover specifically, Finlay cover.
It's funny because this is also when she accused Zecora, so it's almost like redemption.
It's a different cover from the one we used in 2-3, I believe.
Yes, it's a different remix, but same song, yeah.
Yeah,
it's arguably one of the better songs
Yeah, a more intense one, because this time we're making an accusation that is true.
Yeah.
Like I said, the characterizations of Athena, Sweetie Belle, and Silver Spoon are the ones that make the subplots, work. Still means the subplot I have.
My personal stance when it comes to media in general that I watch is that you can have the absolute best plot ever, but if your characterization stinks, I'm just gonna get bored.
That's a fair point.
This part. This is another.
Oh god, Fire Sky, $10, and the downfall begins. Yep, the downfall begins at this point.
She'd have no way of making the tip. She wasn't the one who had the
But in some ways, it's just really exciting because it's just oh, sweetie.
And then you find out about this moment.
Oh no.
Sweetie Belle, you manipulative little shit.
I also love how Twilight had to actually think about it, and probably comes to the realization at the same time that a viewer would.
Spike headed out just after you guys.
Kind of like she's the proxy for the viewer in a way.
Yeah.
I suppose he must still be with her.
It's the only way.
Oh no, Twilight.
Defense? Have you found an answer?
We have, Your Honor.
You have.
I do feel that kind of bad for her, and Spike especially.
Rarity had sent my friend Spike to check up on Sweetie Belle, who had said
Levels and levels of plotting and manipulation, all of which claim yet another victim.
he has a special
Yep.
ability. He can send letters via his magic fire breath.
Oh, so I see.
Yep. You stayed here way too long for him to not even bat an eye at that.
Miss Sparkle, you're saying that when Spike went up to check on Sweetie Belle,
The jokes in this are genuinely great, even with how serious like this episode is overall.
Spike would have trusted that she'd have good reason for asking it to be kept quiet.
That was the main thing to consider, really, because it does get pretty heavy towards the end.
Oh yeah.
Turning page,
Mhm.
Spike still sent it anyway. That's how it was delivered without any pony seeing
Oh
who
my
sent
god.
it.
Wait a minute! You also said that I got Silver
Wait a
Spoon
minute.
that magazine back in order to free Diamond Tiara. But why would Silver Spoon do that to her best friend?
Oh no.
Yeah. Why?
It's so sad.
It is pretty sad.
This just physically hurts. Yeah, why?
Silver Spoon really helped Sweetie Belle when she was hurt. That also means she was the one who went to Zecora's hut to steal a healing potion. I think, using that information against her, Sweetie Belle could have persuaded Silver Spoon into helping enact her plan.
That only holds up if Silver Spoon really did help me that night. And there's no proof she did.
You're right in saying there's no proof she did help you. But there's an easy
And
way
now
to
here
explain
comes
that
the
was
trump
in
card.
Belle.
Yep.
There is?
In the previous trial, we learned
We could have used this earlier, but then we would miss out on all the information we just uncovered here in
Yep.
court.
confessed before we could verify that. Yet, today,
Comes back because initially you just think that Silver Spoon confessed because she's nice, she's Silver
Under
Spoon.
pressure. Yeah.
But there's a deeper reason.
There's actually a reason for it.
So did Silver Spoon. So how did her hoofs get bloody?
She knew what that would have revealed if she allowed it to happen.
Blood did it belong to? No. That blood could only belong to Sweetie Belle. Silver Spoon's hoofs got covered in it when she helped make the tourniquet. All we need to do is conduct one final blood test. And then we'd know for certain that Silver Spoon did help her that night. And that would confirm everything else.
Bam, bam!
The sending of the anonymous tip, the break-in at Carousel Boutique, and the framing of Diamond Tiara. It was all planned and
You are
orchestrated.
going to the Shadow Realm, Sweetie Belle.
Here we go.
Oh boy. My moment. I've been looking forward to this.
I tried so hard to make that breakdown the biggest one thus far, bigger than 2-6, and 2-6 was already pretty intense. So I've just noticed, like, in this case, in this series, really, there's so many character breakdowns. You always want to save a little bit in your tank to go just one level higher, because you never know when they're going to have the floodgates open.
It's true. And Peeps, I believe you have something to say about this.
Oh, I have a lot to say. I hope you're ready for Pretty's crash course in character animation. Hello. Okay, let's start with
This
all
is the
the
best
background.
music for it.
Yeah.
So, making the breakdowns, making this breakdown itself happened back when I was an animator for the project. I was approached by my team leader to take on Sweetie Belle's breakdown animation. Though I was strapped for time since it was discovered nearly last minute that we forgot to make this. Nothing I wasn't used to with Case 2. We had some issues with organization, but we're working on fixing that, so yay!
Yep.
I was told by my team leader that I'd find all the notes I needed in the animation chat. Unfortunately, these notes contained little to no details for me to work off of. Along with these instructions, I was given two extremes. a 9-second audio clip I'd be animating to, and there's also a video clip of the crying scene from season 2 episode of One Bad Apple I was supposed to reference, but it conflicted with the one crying extreme drawn for me. And I found this not to be sufficient for the moment I was going to animate. So I asked Al to take over entirely, and he said yes.
Yep.
Thankfully, my strength is character animation. Huzzah! Did you want to say something, Al?
No. You just keep going on.
Alright. So yeah, my strength is character animation. When I was back in school, it was one my teachers noted and suggested I push to that the most in my focus, and especially for my senior film. And I also considered it a strong interest of mine animation-wise. Thus, I felt I was in a good place to give the best EOJ can offer. I started playing the animation by working out the extremes and key poses, sending a video of it to Al to confirm this was a good direction. The extremes are drawings of images that are at the beginning and end of a pose, and the keys are the drawings which define the movement. Some animation. I'm going to be using a lot of animation terminology. I'll do my best to explain as I go. For those not in the know. From there, it was taking each pose, adding all the in-betweens, adjusting the animation or timing as I went. I did a mix of straight ahead and pose-to-pose animation for this, in which I worked out the poses to start, like the pose-to-pose. Namely the keys and extremes, but then I filled it in between each of the keys, like straight ahead. This process took about a week to do. In order to do the crying animation you saw, I directly pulled from the show to ensure accuracy. Going through the clip, I thumbed through frame by frame, screen capping the images, and then rearranging them so they lined up and animate. That took quite a while because trying to adjust the animation, which is moving, and different size screen caps, it took a bit to get them lined up just right. And from there, it was as simple as heavily referencing, drawing over it, and using it as pretty much a loose guide of sorts, and can't exactly expect it to be exactly accurate across all the frames. And I had to create some new faces along the way, creating the animation in order to get the right acting and expressions I was trying to convey. A lot of thought is put into a character's movements, expression, and body posture when doing character animation. When I am not just an animator, I'm an actor. And as I would animate, I'd play out the motions of Sweetie Belle by physically moving my body and making the expressions on my face as if I was her. It helps me work out the animation. I thought about what she was feeling and how a child like her would feel in this moment, being caught with her hoof right in the cookie jar. There's terror, that slow realization that no one's coming to help you, and then the breakdown itself, which was the most important part. Who doesn't love the character breakdowns in Ace Attorney games? It's that satisfying moment where you're rewarded for breaking through the lies and arguments presented by the character on the stand. Each one is unique to each character put on the stand and reflects who they are as a person underneath the guise and deceptions. Stripped down and beaten. When you get down to Sweetie Belle's core, no matter how awful she was in this, she's a scared child. Scared children, when there's nothing else they can do, sit, cry. And since it's a sweetie, she's going to do it in the most dramatic, cartoonish fashion. And I'd like to take a moment to explain the acting by slowly playing through the animation, breaking down my thoughts frame by frame, if that's okay. If that's
no
not
problem.
Able, it's fine.
No, it's fine.
Alright, just want to make sure I don't want to take up too much time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. I have some cool principle notes. There's 2 particular principles, so I won't be talking about all 12 principles because we don't have time for that, and it's also not relevant. The first one, is it coming up here? Let's see. The first one, let's see. Yeah, this one is the one that's most prominent throughout the animation. It is the principle known as follow-through and overlapping action. Simply put, it's the tendency for parts of the body to move at different rates. And I'm going to have you do some exercises for anyone interested. You don't have to, but I just think doing the exercise is very useful in something like this. So take your hand and move it in front of you. When you stop moving, pay attention. You'll notice it doesn't immediately come to a halt. It quivers a bit. That's what I do with my movements. You can especially see this follow-through animation on the mane. And if you have long hair, you don't have to worry about this if you don't. If you take it, bring it in front of you, maybe shake your head a bit, just have it move and just take a notice how it moves. It doesn't exactly stop right away either, but not even like the hand, where the hand just quiver a little bit. It continues to have a bit of overlap. And that's what overlapping animation is. And it's what I did with the mane. You'll notice the animation before it stops lasts longer than what I do with the hooves. This is a particular technique known as drag, where a character starts to move and parts of them take a few frames to catch up. And I think you could probably notice in stuff like, say, a car antenna, where it would, if anyone knows what that is, maybe like an antennae, something that would be quivering a bit before it stops in an arc-like fashion, which is another principle that I'm not getting. Another principle I use for this is the anticipation, which distinct action, and it's the preparation of the main action of an animated scene distinct from the action and reaction. To easier explain the purpose of anticipation, think about how you would throw a baseball. Does the ball simply leave your hand? That would look silly if your arm went right to throwing. Instead, your arm readies itself by moving back, your body following with it, coming around all as you lean into the motion and taking a step forward. Then the arm follows through and the ball leaves your hand. Every big action must have an action that builds up to it, like I explained in the throwing of the ball example. Like you take a step forward, your body moves, the ball in your hand is not the first thing that happens. There's a lot that goes into the motion that gives it that feeling of it just being thrown. That's basically what anticipation does. And this can be seen especially in some of the smaller moves I do. Like before, say, a hoof picks up, you might see it move down for like a frame, and then it comes up, kind of like it's building the energy to move. But this is especially seen in the pose before she cries, which I deliberately had there as a way of building up to that moment where she's crouching down, building up the energy to pop up and pull her head back. That's what that whole movement is there for, to help build up the energy for the big moment. And this isn't necessarily a principle, but I'll get to it when it comes time for the animation. You'll see it specifically, this is something called twinning, and you'll see it specifically in the who's when they're brought down. I'll get to that in a minute. But twinning is when a character or object that is symmetrical moves with both sides in sync and in unison. This mirrored appearance typically appears unnatural and incorrect, so we usually try to avoid that, and it's subtle, and you'll see I avoid it as much as I can, but you'll notice it when I'm, say, moving one hoof or another hoof or even in the hair. And that's basically me trying to offset the animation from one another. So it all starts and stops at different times. It looks a lot more natural that way. Because when we're actually moving about, and if, let's say, you wanted to say, move about like I am, like right now I'm talking with my hands, you can't see it. But my hands are definitely not moving together at the same time. They're moving in different times and different ways. Because we as people aren't symmetrical like that. But there are some instances where it can be used. And one in particular comes up in the scene. When Sweetie slams her hooves down before the tears, you'll notice that I have them come down at the same time. I had them twin in this case as a means to emphasize the action. Let's take this from a human perspective, and you don't have to do this because this involves you standing up, but the idea of imagine yourself just standing up and slamming your foot down while acting with your arms and hands. Wouldn't they all come down at the same time to emphasize frustration? It's also one of the few times I didn't have that slight quiver before stopping to further emphasize the feeling. The immediate stop makes it feel more punchy than if I had a small quiver. Okay, I am ready for the thumbing if you are. Is it okay if I walk through the animation, or should I just explain it here?
I could just explain it over here. Yeah.
Alright, I'll just explain it then. My thought process is when Sweetie starts, she's shaking. She has her hooves in front of her body in a very protective posture. Because when you're scared, your body posture pulls in, trying to protect yourself, your core. The big part of character animation. And from there, she starts looking around. After that, she'll start looking around here. after she's done shaking. That was fun, having offsetting the animation. A bit of twinning on the hooves there. But yeah, she looks one way. Her eyes do this little shift. I thought it was a cool way of expressing nervousness by using her eyes there as a little quiver. It took a bit to get right. And then she brings her head around. She's looking this way. You can see the expression gets even more nervous as she's starting to realize there's no out. Silver can't help her. Rarity can't help her. There's no one left to help her. She is on her own. She brings her head down, brings her hose up. She's just like, oh, frustrated. What can I do? There has to be something I can do. I have to figure this out. I'm gonna get in so much trouble. And then she comes down. This is where the anticipation comes in. And the tears. There's nothing she can do. It's over. And she starts crying.
I think that's a great breakdown of how this entire thing went through.
Wait, so...
Yeah, there's just...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought, as you can see, that goes into just 9 seconds of animation. And that took me about a week. I think in cleaner circs, maybe it could have taken about 5 days in order to get all that looking just right.
So you worked off of the audio?
Yeah, I worked off the audio. I listened to all 9 seconds, and I considered the sounds you were making and what Sweetie Belle was thinking in that moment. And
I could have sworn I saw the animation before I recorded, but it must have been after.
Oh, no. We when it comes to voice clips, I don't know if it's possible to animate without the voice. I think that look a little silly. I know in anime, they probably do that because of the lip flapping.
Right, this would be like...
I imagine for dubs like that you could do that because then they could go off the character animation that's already there. I imagine it's easier in that way because it's already there. But for someone like this, having audio timed with the animation is how I do it, or how I would do it, or should be done. I remember doing it because I saw it was 9 seconds and I'd time it within 9 seconds, and it's what led me to approach it in the first place, because those two extremes, that was a lot of space for 9 seconds. Having her head down like that, I couldn't think of a way to make it as animated with just her head down. And I was like, this moment deserves more than just having her head down and shaking a little bit. She's a kid, she's trapped. She's going to be looking wildly for any other solution that isn't actively admitting that she was wrong.
Yeah. I love that.
It's great. But yeah.
So
amazing job with the animation, honestly.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Like
Yeah,
so
really
much
good
thought
job.
put into that breakdown. Like I'm sure people just think, oh, that's a cool breakdown, but I think what people don't understand a lot of times is like, why is it cool? And I think how you explain, even as basic as like the principles of animation and how it adds up to all of this, I think it's a great way to like teach people how animation works, even just through this 9-second animation.
I definitely learned a lot just listening to this as we were going through
I highly recommend, if you get the chance, if it's possible, find this on YouTube. I don't know. But one thing that always comes to mind when I think of animators and acting is the character animators of Peter Pan and what they would do while they're sitting at their desk just working out the movements of the characters. It is really fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think now is a good time. We should probably move on. I love the lesson, by the way. I mean, I'm a sucker for animation, so...
But yeah, we got more things to cover.
Yeah.
I did want to quickly say, you did a really great job, Pretty. I don't want to speak too long because it's storming out, and I'm worried it's going to pick back up any second.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah.
Gosh, I just also want to say that, like, I don't know how much you enjoyed it, but, like, I imagine that the feeling of when it all finally came together, like, it must have probably felt amazing, because, like,
yeah,
for me, that's a really fun part of the animation process. When it all comes together in the end, and you see what you've created, and you're happy with it, that there's really no feeling like it.
Yeah, I felt really great when I saw it all come together for the first time. I enjoyed seeing it as the keys, but it's not the same without all the little movements that build up to it.
Yeah.
And this is another thing I did with the whole head down thing. I think I just used one of the extremes you gave me to make that, because it was just another thing. It's like, oh yeah, don't forget to do this. I'm like, oh yeah, I have to do this. Oh, okay. And I may have been a little quick about it because I had to get to the cutscene, and I wish I could have done the tears a little better. But I had to like work out how the mane would look, and had to do some extra drawing for that. Try to get the horn to look just right, getting the face to look just right, and then I had to make her quiver, and I got a little bit of help for that one because I was just like, oh, I got to make her quiver because I'm in a rush.
Yeah.
So yay, everybody come together to help make things look cool.
Yeah. All right. I think now we should actually move on.
Yeah.
Let's go
That's about
ahead.
all I had to say on Sweetie.
Yeah. And also thanks Justin Tran for the $4.99. And yeah, I'm kind of. It is a bit of a missed opportunity because Rarity did it for Coco in case 1. How would she not do it for her sister?
I know you're scared.
She could have just been shocked. It's possible.
Not from this. You must face the truth once and for all. Please.
Rarity speechless.
Think of your sister, who no doubt sits in the gallery worried
Oh
out of her
God.
mind.
I can hear Mango.
Oh God.
This whole
Mango.
will surely come to a shock to all of them.
I'm in the middle of something, Mango.
Face their reactions once outside of this courtroom. The time for reparations will occur then. But for now,
Has your cat been doing any waist shines lately?
What really happened that night?
No, she's in heat right now. Again, after a week.
I know that
Man.
for both of you, but we have a chance to confront it. Please, tell us what happened.
As long as I ignore her, she'll go away.
Okay, Athena.
Even though I don't want to.
Or she'll just get louder.
That's what I'm afraid of.
That night was the scariest night of
And the confession time.
Yep.
Ooh.
Never underestimate the spate of animals.
I'm not sure what happened here, but the music itself is the correct volume, but the characters themselves are quieter than they should be for some reason. I have no idea how that happened. That didn't happen to me with like the previous scenes I mastered the audio for.
Yeah.
In this case.
Must have been like a little mastering issue.
like it was drunk with blood or something.
Oh. I know we just had a huge pause moment, but I have my own pause moment to go through. And it was technically Joel's like idea too, but it's something that I have to point out. So there are some stills that we never got a chance to use. Because not because like we didn't want to use it, it's because we forgot to use it. So by the way, hey, everyone in the chat right now, do you remember the opening cutscene at the beginning of case 2? You know, the one where that pony was running away from the Timberwolves in the Everfree Forest? You know who that was? Well, if you look at the stills right now, you can see it's Sweetie Belle. Sweetie Belle was the one running away. So I'm kind of shocked that we forgot about this little thing that we never got a chance to use, but at the same time, like, it would make sense because like that's a grown mare and she's a filly,
right?
So
yeah, I mostly thought that the reason we didn't use these stills was because of the fact that the silhouette and the actual intro itself was an adult pony, so it would have been a bit weird. But at the same time, I also think like for like cohesion of your story and also like making sure like everything remains relevant, that we probably could have still used these stills, because at least if you ask me personally, it's kind of hard to argue for like how relevant the cutscene in 2.1 is now, considering we don't really like go back to it at all.
Yeah, I think actually someone pointed this out in the chat, like, you thought it was Royal Order, but you gotta remember, the pony running from the Timberwolves was a mare. So you can tell like by their head structure, like it's rounder instead of like more angular from a stallion. So yeah, Yeah, I
There's
just want to
that
make
at
that.
least.
I just want to make that really quick. Didn't want to make it super long, but yeah, those are like you technically got to see some cut content, even though it was not technically cut. It was forgotten.
Yeah. Cut content is like one of my favorite things in media to see.
Yeah, it's like it tells you like what could have been, and it's
Right.
and let's move on.
I think that'll be it.
Really stay conscious long enough to get behind the statue.
That was when I showed up. DT told me to chase after Scootaloo and Turning Page, but I never found them. What I did find, however, was blood on the crossroads. I thought one of them had gotten hurt, so I followed it to its source. It led me to the statue, but there wasn't any pony there. I was about to leave when I heard what sounded like moaning coming from behind the statue.
Mango, please.
Scared of everything that happened, but I couldn't help being curious, and well, I went to look.
She wants to be part of the DC, Al.
What I found.
She saw opalescence. She saw some of her kind being involved.
I remember calling out to her, too shocked to do anything
She's
else.
just like,
She didn't respond, just made another moan, one that sounded weaker than the last.
And that was when you decided to help her.
I couldn't just let her bleed out there. My parents work at a hospital. They understand the value of pony life. And even though they aren't around a whole lot, they still taught me the importance of all lives, too.
Using, I assume, what medical knowledge you do have, you managed to scrape together the force debris to fashion this tourniquet, thus allowing you to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, and I stayed there, by Sweetie Belle's side, until she regained
Good gal, Sylvie.
Good gal, Sylvie.
Yeah. Even with like, the not so good interactions they had plenty of times in the show, she still decided to do the right thing anyways.
I was shocked. I tried asking her why she was there.
Yeah, do I?
All she did was
Hey,
ask
I'll
me
spoon.
questions about how I was feeling. Then she asked if I could walk. I looked at my leg and saw the tourniquet, and when I stood, I found I could move a little.
The tourniquet wouldn't hold forever, though, and Sweetie Belle's wounds were bad. She needed to get to a hospital, but we were too deep in the Everfree Forest to get there in time. I asked if she had any ideas to what we should do, and she said she knew a place that had a healing potion we could use to fix her leg. You mean Zecora's hut?
Uh-huh. We walked there together and knocked on her door, but there wasn't any pony home. So Silver Spoon went inside to grab the potion herself. I don't know what Zecora puts in that stuff, but it managed to seal the wound almost immediately, and I could walk without it hurting.
What you put in there? It was good.
Did itch for a while afterwards, though.
You two then made your way out of the Everfree Forest afterwards?
Yeah. I also saw Sweetie Belle home so that she didn't have to walk alone.
Oh my gosh, Silver Spoon.
Started talking.
About what?
She's so loud.
I'm kinda jealous of you three.
I like this part.
I love this part.
I love this scene.
Yep.
It's
I
actually
like
one
the
of
way
my...
that it's,
You all seem so close.
if I may, I like
Go
the way
ahead.
that it's set up so that what we are essentially doing is recognizing a negative parallelization between what Silver Spoon has and what the CMC have.
I love that.
Yeah.
That really was like, Silver Spoon doesn't get a lot to do in the show, so expounding upon her character made sense, and it made sense to do it in this way. There are, what we're essentially examining with the scene are the types of friendships that people have. There's the situational, the occasional friendships, the ones that just kind of happen on the occasion, that are very momentary. But then you have these, deeper connections that the CMC have. So when Silver Spoon was, talking about her friendship here, all she's really saying is, I'm friendship with Silver Spoon, with Diamond Tiara, sorry, almost out of convenience, because it just so happened we're at the same party. We're in the same social circles. We're in the same status. Whereas the CMC, by and large, represent a friendship that, goes beyond such fields, such circles, which in some
A
ways...
common
makes you
thread
feel
that
more
connects the three of them, basically.
Exactly. As a side note, something that I also want to point out is this is a very common technique, but also a very effective technique. I don't know the exact term for it, but it's basically where you have two characters in a cramped setting, cramped quote unquote, and then that lets them talk, like actually talk, rather than insult or jeer or anything like that.
Yeah.
So while technically Silver Spoon and Sweetie Belle are, technically out in the open in this background, because the implication is that they're on the street alone, the inherent narrative tension between them naturally allows for this conversation to occur.
Oh.
And that line is a brutal line of being when
Sylvie needs a hug after that.
Yeah, when Silver Spoon admits that she's afraid that she'll have no one to talk to, or that no one will talk to her. It's a way of humanizing her. So I think that's a very real, unspoken, raw and terrible fear that many people have.
There's the line. There's the line.
Oh yeah, everyone loves this line. Nobody wants to be friends with the blackmailer.
You're welcome, Sweetie Belle.
I think I recorded them back to back, but then I separated them into like a Silver Spoon file and a Sweet Belle file when I sent them.
Do you think you'd ever want to hang out?
Arts has
that's such a good effect too.
Oh, I love that part. It
So
hurts so
brutal.
good. So good.
This dude, that hurts.
I actually cried.
The next day, I was still at
Poor
school
Silver Spoon.
Cold.
when I heard from Rarity that Scootaloo had been arrested. That's also when we learned from Rarity that you were
This
feeling
hurts
sick.
so much.
I remember you weren't that cooperative when we went to talk to you.
Made even worse by what Sweetie Belle does to her later. Like, you already treated her in a very cold manner in that moment. And then you... Yeah.
No good deed goes unpunished.
But even so, I couldn't just sit by and let Scootaloo suffer. So after you and the others left, I decided to write that anonymous tip.
Saying that Turning Page had killed his father in the Everfree Forest?
Yep. But at first, I didn't really want to go through with it. It wasn't until Spike showed up to check on me that I decided to have it sent.
That kind of reminded me of how Scootaloo wasn't sure if she wanted to go through with going to the Everfree Forest to meet the bullies.
I also told him that if he did this, I'd send him up on a date with Rarity.
Oh my god.
Sweetie Belle, that's incredibly manipulative of you.
Oh. I get that she kinda had no choice, but that still feels gross.
That's disgusting.
Not that it ended up working out anyway. Turning Page getting accused didn't get Scootaloo acquitted. If anything, it just made the whole situation worse for the two of them.
What the fuck is going on up there?
Is that your cat, Sil?
No, that's not my cat. I'd be concerned at that point. Remember, I'm in the basement, so whatever loud sounds come from upstairs, I hear it.
I sense that was not the only
Yes, and yes, the basement is real.
Yep, feelings of revenge.
Because I wanted to get back at Diamond
Oh my shit.
But even then, you couldn't actually plant the magazine
Revenge is
yourself.
such a
Forced you to come to the trial.
really, like, corrupting feeling. Like,
Yeah.
it can corrupt, like, even, like, the best of people. Not that I'm saying that Sweetie is, like, a great person or anything, but... like, considering that she's mostly, like, doesn't, like, fall this deep, like, yeah.
Diamond Tiara would show up during the trial once the blackmail was uncovered, so I was sure I'd be able to find her then.
That would have been right after the fight you had in the lobby before the trial.
It wasn't hard to find her. She was in the witness lobby waiting to be summoned. I figured that whatever happened during the trial...
I like how Sylvie has, like, her eyes closed, like, she's just...
She's devastated.
Yeah, I wonder how Diamond feels.
And that was when I told her my plan, but...
Thanks,
both
Fire Sky, for the
Diamond-
5.
I feel like, imagine Silver Spoon feels even more hurt by this case than Diamond, though. Considering that she straight up got blackmailed.
Yeah. And like Fire Sky like pointed out, like even though like Silver Spoon wanted to do right in the end, she still went through what happened in the beginning.
Had to play a different card.
Not now, Mango.
Silver Spoon do what I asked, or I tell Diamond
She has commentary to give.
I guess that's true. This part.
Oh boy.
that potion.
Thank you, Fire Sky.
Man, one of the things I'm most intrigued by Sweetie's actions in this case is how it's like the absolute farthest we can push her in terms of like doing these things without like completely demolishing her character. Like,
yeah,
she almost ruined her own sister's career over making her dresses too good. Like, what do you think she'd do to someone she has way less positive feelings towards?
Yeah, exactly.
If you do something like that to her own sister, you know?
Well, when she did it to her own sister, it was done out of selfish, reaction. This,
Yeah.
Holy.
I find like what Sweetie Belle did here really tragic because it's really petty, but it's also a result of the circumstances she was put in.
Exactly. Like, people think that, oh my god, Sweetie Belle, how she could never do this, but if you really think about it, if you actually look into her character, if she's pushed to her limit, she probably would. Which is the scary part and sad
people
part.
also seem to have forgotten Sweetie Belle was doing this out of place of care.
Yeah.
She genuinely wanted to save Scootaloo. She's just screwed it up for everyone, but that's irrelevant. Intentional wise, like in terms of intent, Sweetie Belle's intent was good and pure. And came from a place of great
she's
care.
just a kid. Of course she wouldn't know better.
I mean, one of her intentions.
You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain.
It is unreasonable to expect a character to realize whatever genre of narrative they're in, so Sweetie Belle would not understand that she's in a tragedy. I mean, that is as old as Oedipus. So
yeah.
I still feel really bad for Sweetie in spite of what happened. Though she definitely fucked up as well. That can't really be denied.
It should also be noted she is a scared child and doing what a scared child would do, and that's avoid punishment.
Witnesses?
I'm really curious to see like how this like affects the rest of the series as time goes on.
Yeah.
Miss Sykes.
Yes, Prosecutor Luna?
It appears
All right.
we have come to an end of the winding
last scene.
trail you set us upon. We have managed to uncover a great deal of revelations, and with them some complicated feelings, I am sure. Much has been said now about what happened following this murder. And we have managed, I believe, to piece together a fuller picture of the actions many took these past few days. But this discovery, this confession, these revelations, what were they all for?
Oh, we come to the big question now of everything we've uncovered. Like, what does it all mean?
Another $10 from Fire Sky, thank you.
Jesus Christ, Fire Sky, please.
I must agree.
Also, a past like donation from Fire Sky talking about how like she's his favorite or their favorite CMC. She's my favorite CMC too. And even I will say like, yeah, I could see her doing this.
I did
I can't.
Twilight.
I think part of being like a big fan of a character is knowing what they would or wouldn't do.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
That's
such
how you
a
know
thing
you're-
as having too much of a perfect, idealized view of them in your eyes.
Let me show you.
Exactly.
Silver Spoon said
It's like
she'd
you
Yes, knowing the limits.
exactly like you if you're a fan of a character, you should know not just their strengths but their weaknesses too.
And love them.
And
Love them for their strengths and weaknesses.
exactly. I think that like personally I think Sweetie Belle's like the most flawed of the three, I would say.
Also, nice little I believe this is a 999 track thing. Is that right? A serious
One
escape?
was Zecora, and the other was Turning Page.
Dilemma.
She never mentioned
Yeah, it's
seeing Silver Spoon or any pony
So-
else on the board.
Yeah.
How could she
He got
have
cut out.
missed her? But neither Zecora
I think he
nor
said yes,
Turning
though.
Page.
Dilemma. It's the last game in the series.
Quite the contradiction, isn't it?
I still
really
have yet
wanna-
to complete 999.
I want to play the trilogy at some point.
I bought it, and I'm
It's
just
really
really
good.
bad at finishing it.
I don't think so.
Sometimes it's just exhausting to do a lot of
Didn't any
clicking
her events match
and
up with
reading.
our evidence? That leaves us with Sugar Stamp's confession. It's far more likely she's the
And
one
you call
who-
yourself an Ace Attorney fan.
We also know,
Oof.
from what Private Eye confessed to,
I consider myself. I got no rebuttal to that, actually. You got a point.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
How about this? I'm a casual Ace Attorney fan. My background, in terms of my experience and how I approach storytelling, the consumption of storytelling medium, it's a lot more traditional, which is why I think I have a harder time engaging with modern day storytelling mediums like video games. These kids with their electronic devices. But we don't have to get into that. If we do, we're going to be here for another 3 hours.
Yeah, let's
I think we
not.
get so off track by that point.
We're literally going to pause, like, in the next 20 minutes, like 3 or 4 times.
I were in cahoots over this. But even if I were convinced,
Hey,
We're going to have, like, 4 different TED
had
Talks.
a lot behind it during production.
And we still have a cutscene.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, a cutscene. Huh? What's a cutscene?
the body at the clearing was neither moved nor killed.
I don't know why you thought that this was going to be less than 3 hours.
Or regardless of what did happen, one thing remains certain: the body was still moved.
Yes, indeed. I would like to know what the defense thinks.
Okay, Athena.
Oh boy.
It's coming.
Oh boy, it's the moment. It's the moment.
Take a moment and think this through one
Yeah.
step at a time. If I'm right about this, then we have no explanation for
Even
how the
Mango's
body was
excited.
moved.
Oh.
Maybe I need to change my thinking here. Instead of focusing on how to explain the body being moved, maybe I should focus on why the body needed to be moved in the first place.
No!
No!
She was about to fucking spray on my stuff again!
Oh no.
Anyways, there's a
Big
pause
brain
moment right
time.
here.
Pet her, Belle. You have to pet her.
I already pat her butt like a million times. Anyways,
Alan, can you
we
not
have-
just lock the basement door and prevent the cats from coming down?
I do that, then everywhere else in the house gets sprayed.
Visualization.
Anyway, visualization. Like, we got a lot to say about this one.
You don't mind, James?
Yeah, you got something to say, James?
Some stuff from Soundman as well, because I asked him about it. As visualization goes, placed exactly where. Usually
Getting
they
cut out.
go at the very end. Like they always appear at the very end of the case, like the last 30 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's only in the last case of Dual Destinies where it doesn't appear at the end. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
that's like
telegraphs.
the. I think that's
Okay,
like
so-
the only time in the canon games that it doesn't appear at the end.
Yeah, so having it in the penultimate episode, I think, was a good call, because I saw people in the chat actually saying, oh, so we're at the end now. So we just want to have it in a different place, do something different with the mechanic, you know? Yeah. If we can
Do
use
something
it, we
different,
can
you
use
say.
it. Yes, do something different.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't entirely
Yeah.
like blame them for thinking that this was the end, but if you play Dual
Yeah,
Destinies, then you know that they've done this before, where it doesn't actually play at the end.
Don't blame them at all. It's like 90% of the mechanic shows up at the end, so...
Mm-hmm.
Mechanic itself, the actual construction of it. I found a rip of Dual Destinies that had all the assets for it. The main Athena's face, the back background. I think this is the only time we actually use one of the only times we actually use the Dual Destinies model, because the rest is all Spirit of Justice.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because Dual Destinies models are just complete jank, but I do like that we're using the Dual Destinies version of the mechanic, because I think it's actually better, in my opinion.
I agree.
Because you can actually see that they're in their head. You can actually see the character thinking through it. The background itself, that's one of the only things I actually couldn't give Soundman because it doesn't exist really. There's only one clean image that I've been able to find, and it's in the Dual Destinies art book, and it's really tiny. It doesn't exist anywhere else. The background, according to Soundman, I'm going to throw a lot of jargon at you now, so this is coming from Soundman, not me. The background is full of an After Effects program, a project, a lot of post-processing after the fact on it. That's what he says about the background. It's just a whole lot of stuff going on. The red line that sort of like represents the train of thought, I guess, for the character. Just for those, I think Al can throw them up now.
Oh, I've been doing it.
Yep, they're there.
Yeah. I had to basically show him how the mechanic really, on when you just look at the textures of themselves, you have to actually see them goes in the actual game itself. The text, Soundman says, text that splashes on screen. Soundman didn't actually like how that turned out. He says that the text aliasing messed up and have semi-transparent pixels on them. I like it myself. I've still not got an eye for that kind of thing, but yeah, that's what he's got to say about the final text. Is the game itself, just recreating that. And text watch.
Bless you.
Bless you, Jay.
Sorry, no, I'm just watching the stream and I see the graphic come up. It just says Athena stabbed the real culprit.
Oh yeah.
Athena killed Royal Order.
That is hella out of context.
On screen.
Oh.
Yeah. The text that's actually on the screen right now that should be in the text box. That's the one thing that Soundman actually did praise himself on, because he says that if it was just in the text box normally, it would be really bulky and you won't be able to see what was going on, with all the options coming up on the screen. So he actually made that himself completely on the fly, and yeah, that's what he's got to say about it. He says that I would like to hope that he enjoyed making it, but I obviously know that's not the case, because making the mechanics it's hell.
Oh yeah.
But having made it, that means we don't have to make him again.
Soundman,
Yeah,
shouts to Soundman.
Shout out to know how difficult it was to make this. All hail Soundman.
I'd also like to point out very briefly that the song that plays is not, if I remember correctly, it's not the actual one ripped from Dual Destiny. It's actually an MLI unreleased track.
Yeah, it's
so just another throw in.
Yeah, I'm gonna go play this. I'm gonna play the track right now. Well, not the track, but like the actual scene itself. But yeah, this is an unreleased track from My Little Investigations.
Yep. Originally, we were gonna use the Dual Destinies Revisualization theme here, but Salmon really wanted us to use the MLI theme here, and oh boy, am I glad we did.
Yeah, I was iffy at first, but then I'm like, you know what?
Yeah,
why not?
Just look how it lines up. And he made these, the red line animations with this track in mind.
So there's no way he could have faked a blood test for it.
Plus, it's case 2. This whole case has been, has several callbacks to MLI. It made thematic sense.
It makes sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
the music itself is actually what would have been the revisualization music for MLI anyway. So, it's not just some random track. It actually is the revisualization music that would have been in My Little Investigations.
That's right.
We essentially gave like this track like the light that it really deserved to have.
We really did. This track is incredible.
Yet somehow, no one reported this blood being
Also, an interesting thing, I don't know if it was mentioned by James, but in the beginning, right as we jump into the revisualization, the little like audio blurb that plays, that's actually this track reversed for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Before it re-reverses. Or
yeah, that was a really nice touch.
Yep. That was a Saman's decision. It was pretty cool.
That's it. If the blood was moved
That should be done with every revisualization. That's like a build-up.
Rings around the trees.
We'll see.
That suggests that the blood found at the clearing came from the blood at the statue, which would mean
Be interested to hear what it sounds like with the actual revisualization music. Probably sounds like, well, I won't say. Probably sounds awful.
That means the plot twist was not real. Plot twist of a plot twist.
So that means this entire time.
Oh, I forgot to point out, some of the choices we put in the revisualization were references and jokes, like the time travel spell.
Yeah.
Forgot about
like
that. That was a cute little thing.
Even more insane than the clone theory itself.
It's that there are no clones at all.
I remember when I was doing the fan server watch party for this, that the call went crazy over this.
Now I know it's wrong. But who could have set this whole thing in motion? And why?
Athena? What's wrong? You look like you're about to throw up.
Twilight, I just figured something out.
Great! Does it help us?
I think so, but it also...
Oh, by the way, I missed a dono. Hold on. Let me go get to it. Impus, $20. Loving the commentary. This is my favorite part of 2.8, the revisualization scene. I think it'd be great and really funny for future kids to explore incorrect choices in the revisualization. It would be pretty funny, you're right. Yeah, thanks so much for the $20. You guys have been so generous today, thank you, really.
Maybe that could be the bloopers.
Maybe that could be the bloopers.
Yeah, but it's...
Then we have to tell the court. No matter what.
Something I really love about this plot, about this twist, is that it was technically possible to actually figure this out way before this episode if you were like attentive enough.
Always, and to the very end.
That's my horse girlfriend.
I sense that whatever it is you
Bruh.
Oh, Alox. You are a treasure.
Nonetheless, you cannot relent.
I cannot wait till everyone hears that.
I can't wait for King's 2 bloopers to come out.
I'm not entirely happy with how I named the bloopers, but I think we'll still be able to make great use of them.
Are you gonna animate them again like last time for case 1?
Well, we have to.
But by the way, wasn't that line from Luna a reference from The Great Ace Attorney 2 and also Doctor Who?
It is a classic Doctor Who reference.
Whether it was or not, I'm choosing to take it that way.
That is super classic Doctor Who. That's like from 1965, I think.
And a Great Ace Attorney 2 reference. So, layers upon layers. This is smart.
Onions have layers. Ogres have layers.
Case 2 is just a big ogre.
You know what?
Analogy?
That's the it's a weird analogy, but a very accurate one.
Yeah, it's a little messy. It's kind of, you know, abrasive and
it makes you cry.
It makes you cry.
And yet, in spite of all that, it still has
There's a
plenty
princess.
to enjoy about it.
Athena, you don't mean...
Here goes. Prosecutor Luna, Your Honor, Twilight, I believe that despite everything we've heard, despite everything we've supposedly uncovered, the fact of the matter is that this clone...
Bam,
existed in the first place.
Keep pressing on. Although this was supposed to be the last promotional version because of how many times we've played this already in the case.
Yeah. we thought we were able to do it in time, but unfortunately, like literally by the time like because SK like mastered this scene, but by the time she like she finished this she finished her mastering, she was going on a cruise, so there's no way that she would work on it after the fact. So whatever we got.
Go with it.
Yeah,
we can just gotta go with it.
I find that a little bit regrettable, admittedly. But keep pressing on is such a banger pursuit thing that it still ended up making this moment incredible.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to have.
There's always a chance to use it later.
That's just it. I think the explanation
There'll always be a chance.
Explain, defense.
Here's what I think.
Yeah, by a long shot.
When I proposed the clone theory, Private Eye had been listening and told Sugar Stamp about it after the trial. They must have used that idea to create this false narrative about a clone.
God, I love this. The key smell trumpets there.
Yeah.
So
I love how it mixes like elements of orchestra, but also rock. And the bass line is just a nice little topping on top of the whole thing, especially during this part right here. I love this. Is my favorite part of the song.
Yeah. It's like claviers in the background doing this.
Yep. And the way the bass line complements the guitar as well, it's so badass.
You know, the things like the sound font and just the general instruments that they use. Like Spirit of Justice has a lot of synth in its music.
Yeah. But I think Dual Destiny's OST, it wasn't always a whole orchestra, it was actually synthetic orchestra. I think. You don't quote me on that because I could be wrong. But I've heard. I've heard that the Dual Destiny's
has one of the best OSTs among Ace Attorney games. Not the absolute best, but it's like the
It's
top
definitely up there, I'll say. I mean, hey, Courtroom Revolutionaire is one of my favorite objection themes.
Same.
I will simp for the greatest.
TJA is a amazing OST. I mean, I take a lot of inspiration from it. So
just the way it uses leitmotifs mainly is just so
it's so
good.
smart. It's so good.
Ace Attorney's OST is a masterpiece.
Circumstances around their creation, maybe.
The circumstances.
But we'd have to somehow show those circumstances aren't real either. But short of time travel,
Got 20 minutes.
That's another reference.
Just wait.
Oh yeah.
Season 5 Twilight.
Yep, but
I got it. I know how to
Love that reference.
You do?
so tongue in cheek.
Thanks, Twilight.
Blink and you'll miss it.
Okay. You want proof, Prosecutor Luna? You got it.
I'm not sure I got it.
Yeah, I like that we actually like say that it's straight up impossible. That is straight up impossible to time travel here, because this is like at the point that this would be in the show, like we still haven't seen that it actually is possible to time travel more than a week.
When Twilight missed the boulder that was 2 feet away.
Yeah.
She's a little dumb, but she's got heart.
She's
high intelligence, low wisdom. It's okay.
Yep. High intelligence, low wisdom.
Rolls a nat, 5 maybe on perception check, but hey, she's got heart.
And she didn't level int.
By the way, I should totally like respond to Graphite later.
I'm smart.
No one knows what that means.
I'm not perceptive.
You don't.
That certainly makes an alarming amount of sense.
But who could have moved the boulder then?
There was
what minute are we on now at this point now?
Private Eye.
How?
When we were
Got another 15 minutes.
yesterday,
Yeah.
Private Eye let it
So I just wow.
Alright, we're
You
gonna make
notice
that
it's
into
already
half an hour.
Yeah, it's already been 2.5 hours since we started. That was fast.
Oh god, I'm dreading like
It
the
was
next
already
5
open like
minutes.
Next time is gonna be just a bunch of pauses.
Yeah, I'm looking at all the pauses.
Yeah.
This doesn't prove there were no clones, though.
What minute are we in the video itself?
In the recording?
No, in the 2.8.
Oh, and just 2.8? An hour and 45 minutes.
Ooh.
We got 15 minutes left.
Cool.
That's quickly gonna turn to 30. That's quickly gonna turn to 30.
It's okay. It's okay. We planned for this. Oh, and then we got
Did
another
we?
10 minutes for the cutscene.
Did we though?
I don't know, Al. You're the one who's supposed to set this up. I just come here to talk my talk.
It's true.
On the occasion, my talk makes sense. On the occasion.
Signs of a scooter crashing into it. Just a large bruise on the side of the abdomen. Once again, how else can you explain this absence of obvious, distinct bruising if not by admitting the existence of a clone? It doesn't make any sense.
You're right. It doesn't make any sense.
What? You admit it?
What we
I was like, yeah, this shit's fucked. I think so too.
Imagine the TAZ says, yeah, this shit's fucked. Immediately acquittal.
We're not involved. Then what Scootaloo thought she heard must have been wrong.
You don't mean to say
that the breathing Scootaloo thought she heard coming from Royal Order.
It's coming.
Instead,
here we go.
Here we go.
Miss Scootaloo was so certain she heard it coming directly from Royal Order.
Then logically, it must have come from some pony who was right up against the body itself.
Objection! That claim is ridiculous. How on Equestria could Scootaloo have missed seeing some pony behind the body?
Well, it was quite dark.
Even so, if the moon was bright enough that Scootaloo could see she crashed into Royal Order, then she would have seen some pony behind him. There is no feasible way for any pony to hide that way, and thus no way for her to have heard any pony but Royal Order breathing. Nothing short of a child could have even the slightest chance.
Oh boy.
That's the trigger word right there.
First time I read that in the script, my stomach sunk to the
Yeah, I remember. The same thing happened with me.
It takes some time to recover from reading EOJ scripts sometimes. Like, you're genuinely not okay for the rest of the day.
It's the Doki Doki Literature Club eyes.
It is, though.
Also,
Bruno like asked for this post specifically.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Also, this music.
Yeah, thanks placeholder for the $2.
Crawling.
Oh, and thanks Casio for the 20. Yeah. Oh yeah, like this. I mean, look at the replayed. It's the most replayed spot in the entire video.
And it should be for
It should be.
It just should. It's for a good reason. Yeah.
Yeah. The song that's playing right now is called "A Portent Crawling" from Xenoblade 2. Fun fact: the word "portent" means a sign or warning that something, especially something momentous or calamitous, is likely to happen.
Yeah. Also, want to go back to that. Go ahead.
Very well.
Yeah. We can probably wait until after like this bit plays, but I do want to talk about the whole, like Jinx and I do want to talk about the whole OST suit that we picked out here.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about those because I helped make it at the end part anyway, but we're gonna have 30 minutes of just pausing on one frame.
We'll try not to belabor anyone.
Oh, it's too late for that.
Also, I want to go back to like the pose that Athena was in. Like it's literally like the trauma looking dread pose from the first case of Dual Destinies that she went through. It's just that this time she actually has her pupils. And I'm glad that Bruno requested that pose because like it adds so much to that moment.
I just saw her coming and hid.
Even though I heard that it's a lot of pain getting that pose itself. Just translating for the 199. Oh, MV had to do it. Wow, poor MV.
Dude, I rewatched this literally just yesterday, and I still feel a sinking feeling in my chest rewatching this right now.
Zecora never got a good
Yeah, this is a dreading moment. It's like,
and think about what we figured out just now too.
Cursed doesn't even begin to describe it at that point.
It's like suddenly you see the connections, and like everyone, like the moment they heard child, like no, it can't be.
Yeah.
But once they put it all together, they're like, no, come on, there has to be something else. Something that takes.
The question
Yeah,
becomes,
first stage of grief is denial.
Yeah.
actually go.
I went through I went through that first stage of grief even before this episode because I actually had like a thought that it could be turning
Pause
after
here,
all,
Al.
but I really
Yep.
don't want to believe it.
This is
So
what you're getting.
Eon, you finally have something to say. So I think you should explain this little moment right here.
Yeah, so I was the one who ended up animating this new pose for Luna here.
Yeah.
Which, I guess to start with, I wasn't even initially supposed to be the one doing it. I forget the initial context why, but MV was asking for like a volunteer to do it. I don't remember if either someone was too busy to do it or we just needed more people on hand or what, but I volunteered, but I also said if anyone else wanted to do it, I would let them, but no one else ended up volunteering, so I took it. And, well, it was fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically my first real contribution to the series, so I was proud to be actually working on something, and, like, actually feel like I deserve to have my name in the credits.
Yeah.
But so to start with, the only thing I had worked on besides this pose up to this point were some transitional poses for another character, which were largely up to my own interpretation, kinda. Like, I could kind of decide how they turned out, but this was the first pose where it had like a desired outcome, which I believe we have a sketch of like the concept guidelines that we can
It's
show.
right there.
There it is. So yeah, to start, it was just basically going from the normal neutral pose to what to as close as I could get as this unsettled pose looked like. And that's kind of how it started. Initially, it was just her leaning back. She didn't have her head didn't tilt downwards. But kind of like what Pretty talked about earlier, MV thought it needed some more anticipation. So like we came up with her like tilting her head downwards and then closing her eyes for a second, then backing up. Oh, and speaking of closing her eyes, I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes like when like your pupils and stuff change size dramatically on characters, it can look a little awkward. So there's obviously exceptions to that, but so to address that problem, I decided to just kind of ignore it completely and just have her blink, and then when she reopens her eyes, they're already small. Hey, if you can cheat around having to animate, you can get away with it. That's how it works. Special little tip for you aspiring animators out there.
It's not cheating, it's being resourceful.
Exactly.
I know.
The thing about eyes is, and that's kind of a rule of thumb with eyes in general, and changing eye shape or direction or size usually involves blinking unless under special circumstances. It's generally a rule of animation.
I think you cut out there at the end pretty.
Oh, did I? Oh, sorry. But it's generally a rule of animation that to change an eye, like move an eye, make it smaller or bigger, blinking is usually what you do. It's generally what animators do. It's kind of like a rule for eyes. There are exceptions.
Yeah, that makes sense. And speaking of the eyes, next part was like the whole jittering of the eyes aspect, which I think there was a lot of like back and forth between me, MV, and Al on how to make it look right. It took a while, and I didn't want to just do a simple back and forth loop. I wanted to make it a little more complicated than that. And I think it turned out really well for what it is. I can't tell you what exactly her eyes are following, but it gets the look done. It looks
honestly
good.
like really well done. It's a bit of an understatement.
Oh yeah, it's really fucking good, dude.
One
hell of a contribution.
It hits hard.
Nothing but
Yeah,
a
you can
plot
feel
for what you did with this post, Eon. Excellently done.
Beautiful. It's
Oh yeah. Sorry.
I think what makes this pose as impactful as it is because like you first saw it with Athena, well with Bruno like requesting like getting that pose be ready, then that means when you see Luna do it too, when they both made that realization, they're like that's when I think it's not just them but the audience too, or they're like, oh no, Athena sees something, what's going on? And then suddenly Luna sees like, no, oh no, no. And that's the gist that I get with these two poses.
Yeah, I just noticed that in rewatching. I didn't actually use that as a reference while making this because I didn't know about it. I probably would have if I had, but it just happens to line up.
Yeah, they just happen to be around the same thing.
Yeah, I think Athena had like 3 positions. I think I did 5 or 6 for Luna, but I'm not sure. It's been a while. But also I know Al, you initially wanted to keep the eyes jittering, like when she was talking and stuff.
Yeah.
But that just wasn't really doable with how the production process was at the time.
Yeah.
We might have a way of getting around that now, but like I'm not sure.
Yeah, like this pose, like visually very simple, emotionally hurts a lot.
Emotionally crushing, emotionally oh shit.
It's soul crushing.
Absolutely soul crushing. Yeah, there's one hell of a contribution that you made.
You should be proud, man.
You should be.
Yeah, like the fact that you guys enjoy it so much makes me feel like I did something for this team, which does give me like a nice warm feeling in my heart.
Of course you did.
But
you should feel that way. It's that perfect amount of expression to subtlety that matches Luna's character in this moment in a way that just hits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also a little bit of a confidence boost, I think, because I often would worry and have anxiety about when I'd actually have to do something for this project. And, like, would I actually be able to deliver on what was expected of me? But I'm glad I did.
You super delivered this one.
How awesome you are.
Yeah. You should feel proud of the work you do.
Yeah. I do have one last interesting thing I kind of want to talk about a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I did actually have a very minor disagreement with Al and MV over how this pose turned out. I don't know if Al can show it on the screen or not.
I can show it again.
Actually. Okay. Sorry, I keep forgetting it doesn't show up in the Discord stream. But nice. So, as you can see in the EOJ version there, it's kind of all goes fast and then slows down at the end, whereas in the version that I liked, it starts out slow and then speeds up. For my part, I think that my version kind of looks a little better, because I just think that it looks like she's taking a moment to think and process and then suddenly realizing it and jutting back really fast. But ultimately, that wasn't what MV and AlJavis wanted to go with, and it's Al's project in the end, so that's totally fine.
But I totally get your side of the coin too. Like, it's just but like even though I think we did go for the one that's in the episode right now, I do see your version also like hitting probably just as hard. But you know.
Yeah, I'll also say this, seeing it in like action with the flash and everything, the timing and the sound effects go really well with it. So like I'm still very happy with how it turned out.
Yeah. One thing to keep in mind when working on a group project is that no one vision is gonna dominate the other vision. Like, there's multiple heads here, multiple wonderfully talented people in this project. Ultimately, like, we're we do our best in putting our hearts into this project every time we work on it, but we can't like what's the word I'm looking for? We can't like tunnel vision on like one idea or anything either.
Exactly. Like there are many times there are many times when like we thought we were going for this one exact thing that we're trying to go for, but the moment someone like gives like a little, even a tiny thing, being like, "Oh, what about this?" and everyone's like, "Oh, that's just something's how it goes."
Group projects benefit heavily with the free flowing of ideas between people and allowing multiple different voices into a discussion, because everyone has different experiences and talents and all that, and different perspectives, and that all adds to all fills in the holes that we may not even realize we have through each other.
It's like creativity times 10 or 50 or however many people there are.
Which is good, though obviously tempered creativity directed in a direction at all, that's important too. For as important as having many ideas contributing to a solution, you will need to make a solution.
Yeah, a decision has to be made.
Indeed.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to say to that, Eon?
Yeah. Anything else?
The only thing I had left that I wanted to add was I think MV did a little touch-up work, like polish to the final pose, but for the most part it was me, and it's turned out really well, and I'm proud of it.
That's good.
That's good.
You should be.
All right, let's continue, Al.
All right. Yay.
We're going to do another 2 minutes before we pause again.
We gotta do another 2 minutes of pausing.
It happens to be one of those moments.
Speaking of having or Soul Crush, now we're actually playing the Silent Hill track.
Yeah, this
that's
is the Silent Hill
what
track
you can
now.
expect when you save the best moments for last.
Yeah, this is the actual Silent Hill track.
Yeah,
right here,
Silent
yeah.
Hill 2. The best game.
Yeah, specifically Silent
The
Hill 2. I know.
Xenoblade track earlier fits so well that people actually confused it for Silent Hill track, and I'm just like, well, yes, but actually, no.
I just love the context. I know the context of like the specific track, and the fact that it's added to this. I'm like, oh my god, you geniuses!
This actually might be a good point to pause at, Al. 'Cause I think
Right
Joe
here?
might want to talk about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With this whole reveal suite in general, do you want to talk about it, Joel? The process we go through.
You can lead the discussion, and I'll add like little comments as we go along. Hello?
Yeah, so the it wasn't originally Silent Hill 2 that I suggested. It was originally a track from the OG Silent Hill. I agree that it didn't really fit, and then I moved on to Silent Hill 2, as you do for a soul-crushing scene like this.
Yeah.
And
yeah, like this whole bit, like this whole like suite of songs that played for this like reveal, it went through many different revisions. Like I was thinking of wanting to use like the SFX dark, like the SFX darkness first. That won't mean much to the viewers, but if you don't know what that is, it's basically the sound effect that Dual Destinies plays like right before the really horrifying bit in Case 5. You know the one. And then we decided that really was that. We decided that this moment deserves way more than that, so we tried to like find like songs that would work for this. One of the first ones we like found that did end up working for this was I don't know how to pronounce it. Meikai? I believe it is C in English.
yeah, it's an I, the Somnium Files track. It's Meikai, which translates to C.
Yeah, we picked that out, and originally I think it was gonna play for way longer than it did, but because it probably would have been a bad idea to play such a short song for such a long bit. We decided to be like, well, what else can we add here really to like the idea we were going for is that I wanted we wanted the tracks to like feel more and more dreadful as the scene went on, because that's exactly what's gonna happen to the viewer as it keeps going on, and the realization keeps sinking in further and further. So yeah, as James was saying, like we used the Silent Hill track, but also this is how difficult. Like, I guess I should first explain that we actually do like 2 pass-throughs whenever we like brainstorm OSTs for these episodes. The first one where we like, we reread the script and we try to figure out like what songs we should add to this, and then figure out the timings from thereafter. And then the second pass-through is one that we do a couple of days or a week later, where we like go through the whole script again with the document on the side and see if like we still like think like what we picked out was good. Originally, there was actually gonna be a completely different Xenoblade song to the one we picked out. In fact, Al, if you wanna play it on stream right now, can. But well, you'll see soon enough.
This is the wrong image. What the fuck? I knew there was something that's gonna mess up. Let me get it. But just go on.
Yeah, I was saying like I ended up. Well, actually, it was by complete accident. It was like during the second pass through of the OST. I was starting to have doubts about whether the song we picked out that will be first would really fit, because it's not really so much dreadful as it is atmospheric. And by complete accident, I stumbled upon the Xenoblade 2 song that we actually ended up using in the episode. And the main... It's not because of the name that I picked it out, but it's the heartbeat that plays through the song that really made it fit in so well with the Silent Hill track we have picked out already. That was like a stroke of
Silent Hill 2 track
genius.
has a heartbeat going through it.
Mm-hmm. That was like an accidental stroke of genius that just happened at then, and since then, we pretty much had a good idea of what tracks we wanted to play here. But there's way more to us picking like tracks with a heartbeat than that, right, James? Like there's...
Yeah, I didn't realize it at first because I just picked the Silent Hill 2 track, Warped Heart, because it's really, intense, and the heartbeat just kind of adds to that. I realized after I suggested it that it works really well with Athena, because not only can she hear the voices of people's hearts, but the sheen that's on her hair is literally a heartbeat from cardiograph.
Oh man, I literally did not know that until today, that's what her hair like symbolizes.
Wow, I never made that connection.
Goes pretty deep.
Yeah, I think when we like started working for the OST for this scene, like we immediately jumped to like working on this scene, this bit of the scene first, because we both knew that this was the one part of the episode that we really needed to get right. And honestly, I am beyond ecstatic with how it turned out.
Yeah, this was the one that we had to get right no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's continue.
All right, that's all I gotta say.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna continue for 40
really
seconds.
Happy overall.
And we're gonna pause again.
Yep.
Totally started like as us trying to make this moment tense, ended up fitting really well for even the character, Athena herself.
I thought if I wrote that, it would be enough to save Scootaloo, even though it'd make her really, really sad.
Thank you, both of you. And there it is. The last detail I needed.
Did you really want that detail, though, Athena? Did you really want it?
So you've confirmed those two things you were looking for, Miss Sykes. But what now? What now?
And there's Mekai.
Can I do this?
Yeah, this is when the original track that we thought about came in.
Or if I even want to. I don't think I've ever wanted to be proven more wrong in my entire life.
It's also played, like, back in 2-1, but it was not the whole thing.
Frustrating, terrible puzzle have finally come together to
This is the whole song.
tragic picture.
Yeah, we very briefly played it in 2-1.
To do is put it together. But if I do that, some pony's innocence would be destroyed. And what's more important
Okay, pause.
than protecting that?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
you
so
got
here's
something to say.
here's part 1 of my extensive TED talk. So that's gonna be fun. I want to stop and talk about this moment because I want to discuss the intent behind what Athena says here, and then actually what happens after, which is when we show a very brief glimpse of Phoenix. What is more important than protecting someone's innocence? Athena's been operating under a series, I think many people would agree, a series of conflicting and oftentimes wobbly convictions. She's been unable to really determine what she wants or how she wants to do it. All she has is a sense of it, a dream, really, a pipe dream. And ever since 2-1, Athena's insecurity as a lawyer, to her understanding of what she has to do, of what she has a duty towards, all of that has been on full display, informing all of her actions. But it's here, when her convictions are fully challenged in this way, just as she's about to make this realization, that she actually forges ahead and goes with it, with fire in her heart and fury. That's why it's so important for Athena to ask herself a deflecting question. Not just what's more important than protecting that, but essentially, what else am I supposed to do? And actually, if you play the scene a little bit more out, then we'll pause again.
Oh, go on ahead?
Go on ahead, because I'm going to pause again, because I want to point something out.
All right.
There is one thing even
Pause
more
here.
important than the trial.
Oh boy.
Right. So, this is why it's important to bring up Phoenix here. So, as she's asking herself this question of what else am I supposed to do, she remembers what Phoenix said. And in remembering it, she realizes what she had in terms of an answer all along. Phoenix's role in this is also more than just a catalyst for Athena's growth. This wasn't necessarily written in the initial planning, but it was something that I had wanted when I was going over it. I wanted Phoenix to be written in this way as a quote-unquote flashing figure who momentarily comes to Athena's mind, because I wanted a reference to Turnabout Storm 5-4. As many will remember, Mia performed a similar function for Phoenix there, so it made almost poetic sense to have that moment reappear in the context of Phoenix passing on what he learned to his protege. Now, I'm a big fan of frame stories, of parallels, of symmetry as writing techniques, so I was really happy and enjoy being able to create this parallel between the original Turnabout Storm and our EOJ. We'll move on a little bit more, but we're going to pause again. I don't know if you want to just wait until the next 7 seconds, or if you want me to move into talking about the music.
Whatever you want.
Let's keep going, and I'll tell you to pause once I hear the song playing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a
There's
TED Talk.
a great parallel to Turnabout Storm.
It is a great parallel.
Trial's outcome. The truth.
Also really works. Idolizes Phoenix the most.
Now.
Alright, pause.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm
Pause
making it go
again.
through rigor, but this is what you get for bringing me on board. Anyway, this song.
True.
Everyone loves this song. This song. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about breaking down Confess the Truth. I'm going to begin with some quick technicalities here. This is a song in B-flat major or G minor key. It plays at 90 beats per minute. It was composed by me. The guitar was initially composed by me, but AlJavis actually recorded himself playing his own guitar to replace the guitar VST that I used.
It's true.
It is true.
That's
I'm not
a
gonna
real guitar. That's a real guitar.
It's a very real guitar. He sent me the recording. I replaced the VST with it, lined it up as best as I could, and that's what the guitar that you hear in the song is, actually.
Man. I can only imagine how rocking Al felt doing that.
Oh, it felt great. I want more rock stuff.
This is a rock orchestra ensemble. That means that it combines elements of classic rock with elements of orchestral composition and orchestral instrumentation. But also adds a little bit of synthetic instruments. The specific instruments that I ended up using were the piano, the electric piano, the glockenspiel, the bell, 2 synth pads, an organ, the guitar obviously from Al, and then you have your usual strings, brass, woodwinds, and drums, including basic drums, a bass drum, and timpanis. The composition itself was pretty interesting because I decided to draw upon not necessarily just ear, but actual tangible music theory. So, in the Ace Attorney series, the Reveal the Truths and Confess the Truths themes tend to follow a Bach compositional style. This is something that I learned from a channel called 8-Bit Music Theory, where when they were breaking down the original Reveal the Truth in Ace Attorney 1, they described the notation as a Bach keyboard pedal point figure. What I observed with that is, opening with several 16th notes, as in a traditional Bach keyboard pedal point figure, creates speed and momentum. But having a repeated root note playing every other note creates a foundation, kind of like you are stepping back and forth. I took a lot of inspiration from both the structure in the established Confess the Truth themes, plus Bach's Prelude and Fugue in C minor. And I think Al, I sent you a couple of screenshots.
Oh yes, I have them over here. So which one are you talking about?
I guess you can insert the Confess the Truth Bach Prelude in C minor.
Oh yeah,
should
okay.
be, that's the one. That's a prelude from Bach. And if you look at the notation in a Bach compositional piece, you'll notice that it has a very interesting way of writing the arpeggios. Actually, I'm not even sure if it's showing up on screen. Can anybody see it?
It's showing up on screen.
See it.
Yeah, can confirm we see it.
Right. So this arpeggiation, where you have a root note of E, and then you have a bunch of notes playing around it, that's classic Bach. Bach will do that in all his preludes and his fugues. And I took inspiration from, obviously, Prelude in C minor. I also took a lot of inspiration from a song called Link from Professor Laneforth's The Ace Attorney series. If you actually look at the piano melody that I put into this song, and Al, I think I sent you this screenshot, you can kind of see how visually the inspiration is very apparent. So, along with that, obviously you want to start with the piano. At least I wanted to start with the piano in order to create this Bach standard compositional style. The piano repeats with an arpeggiated bassline variant of the original melody. It continues to build with an E piano, and this is just me talking about how the piece progresses into the introduction. So it builds with the piano, then it builds with the E piano, synth pads, organ. You bring in the electric guitar up until the quote-unquote drop, basically, at 32 seconds, at which point the main song actually plays. Verse 1 is where Athena's motif comes in, and if you remember early on in the director's commentary, I was laughing about how people like Athena's motif, but it doesn't get played a whole lot. I felt the same way, which is why I wanted to bring it in here. So I wanted to incorporate here in order to break away from Bach, in order to play with the power of this particular motif from Athena's theme. That's the motif that's obviously supplied by the spiccato violins and Al's guitar. This part specifically actually incorporates the first and second verses from Courtroom Revolutionaire. So what I've essentially done is convert the first and second verses into this song's first verse, which is a really interesting play, essentially, on how the song usually goes. Verse 2 is largely a supporting bridge to the chorus. The guitar continues verse 1 structure, while other instruments start to be layered in with counter melodies. These counter melodies are supplied by the brass and woodwind instruments. Following that, we have the actual chorus of the song. This is an original melody. I'm not quite sure where it came from, but it made sense to go from an epic, heroic theme, which is the Courtroom Revolutionaire motif, to this tense, almost desperate motif, the realization that we need to get the truth out now. This largely follows a D minor to a D sharp major to a C minor to a D minor progression, relying on one strong melody that varies on the fourth measure. While the violins provide the first half, the brass ends in a very strong note. Now, what was the point of this particular piece, some people may ask? why did we make this? Why did I make this instead of using another, reveal the truth theme, or even an objection theme, or even a pursuit theme? So I wanted to make this piece because I wanted to show how far Athena has come in case 2, and to subvert the usual heroics of a reveal the truth theme by placing it in such a desperate context. This is not a heroic moment. This is a tragic moment. In most cases in Ace Attorney, when you have the reveal the truth playing, it's the confession stage, where, okay, I've finally done it, I've finally broken the last witness who's actually the culprit, and I can finally, get some closure. I wanted to do a reversal of that in order to play around with the emotions of the moment and then to accentuate the desperation of it. But on a more personal note, this is my first rock orchestral piece, and I really wanted to give it a go in terms of just composing it, but also understanding the compositional style, the way that I played around with the instrumentation, and then generally just playing around with how the song ended up sounding. Finally, I wanted to do this because I wanted to try and make a collaborative piece. This is our first, between me and Al. I'm hoping in case 3, hint hint, wink wink, nudge nudge, we'll do more collaborations of this sort between Al, me, and Jick Rowe, who is our recently acquired musician.
Yep.
We're hoping to do that for case 3, but there's a huge thing to do, just as, a stepping stone in my musician composing career. So I have a couple of afterthoughts I want to close because this is a very long TED Talk and I apologize for it. It's been almost a year, I think, because I composed this back in November, I think, 2 Novembers ago, when I made this song. Now that I have had the benefit of time to sort of reflect on it and obviously make more music, what I realized is I would have preferred to do some better mastering. The guitar was very hard to master after Al recorded it, and I feel that the song is a little too high-pitched in some parts. In addition, I noticed that I had to cut and arrange certain arrangement differently, or outright remove them in order to clear up portions of the song. I definitely would have perhaps liked to have more instruments playing all together rather than segmenting by instrument section. Still, in the end, this is a really good piece. I hope people don't mind me just saying that outright. It achieved exactly what I wanted, and I'm honestly surprised by how many people just reached out and said, holy crap, what is this music? This is so good. I mean, my greatest honor out of all of this is that Perry, who's one of our newest members, actually made a remix of this piece. So, as someone who's only been doing this for almost 3 years and still struggling with a lot of self-doubt and whether or not, am I a musician really? To have a custom song not just loved by people, but also remixed, it doesn't get much better than that. And that's everything I had to say about Confess the Truth.
Yeah, man, that track is a banger.
Yeah, it's pretty top tier track as far as custom tracks go.
It is one of my absolute favorite custom tracks in this case. It is beyond.
Yeah,
You pretty much, words alone cannot describe how good it is. You just have to, listen to it yourself and really experience it.
Yeah.
It's that good.
But yeah, custom tracks, they're so fun to make. And collabing on this one with Jarvy, also was fun. Supposed to get that, I can actually use a real guitar on this one. I was super rusty at the time, but I'm glad I was able to do it. Yeah, we managed to do it. And with Jake being part of the musicians, man, what the 3 of us could make, it excites me and terrifies me. So I think it's time to move on.
Yep, because now we can actually play the song. Now that everyone now has totally more knowledge about how the song came about.
Yep, and likely tear up again like I did yesterday when I rewatched this episode.
Luna, Your Honor, Twilight.
There's your Bach arpeggiations. And there's the guitar.
And there's a guitar.
There's your synth pads. There's your organs in the back.
Wow. The answer to the question that's been at the center of
Ow, you've been rocking out.
I have been. Oh, what the?
What? Oh, it's good. Looks like it's lag a second.
Okay. Wow. Wow, lag. Don't do that again, please. Killing the moment.
There's the Athena Sykes motif.
I like how the motif comes in right when she says, reveals like who it is.
Yeah, that was asked specifically by Jared.
Mm-hmm. Here's the original melody that I was talking about the chorus. I don't know what it's inspired from, but it just made sense to include it in this way. And you got the trumpets coming in to end it.
And the one that clears up these last and final contradictions.
These contradictions?
Oh wow, a giant bee just ran into my window. That's an omen.
That breathing could not have come from the victim
Just the fact that the track exists at all is something to be proud.
right up against him.
Yeah.
A track dedicated to Athena, who has so little.
She is so little. So I'm really honored to be able to give her something.
Me too.
Not that this is the last track that I made for Case 2 that has some relevance to Athena.
Oh boy.
The fifth,
I love that reveal.
that lay in the middle of the crossroads. Therefore, the breathing that
I like how the reaction noises in this series sound like you're being hit by something.
Yeah. If this
Isn't
happened
that
in
the
real
name of the
life,
sound effect?
yeah, it's literally like I think it's like there's stab, there's hit, there's
Oh my
punch.
I never did, I think excursion noises are what they're called, before this series.
Turning page showed no signs of injury during or after the event.
Objection! That's because we haven't searched him yet. Your Honor, the defense formally requests that Turning be searched for signs of bruising.
No! The prosecution refuses to allow this.
Shoutouts to Goddess, by the way.
Yeah, Goddess slayed with getting Athena, not Luna, to sound terrified and actually legitimately.
All the
no, you can't.
Keep in mind,
Especially
this is
on
with the old mic. She's got a new mic now, so be prepared for that. And you were saying?
One thing, I do kind of like an implication that ponies are more sensitive to these kind of reveals, but a human in the judge is like, we need to check him.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember how, the call was utter chaos during this whole bit.
Yeah.
Like, literal, I think the call was basically on copium the whole time. That's how, like, chaotic it was. It was, holy shit.
Fair finally showed herself.
Angie mom.
Oh boy.
Miss Sykes, I won't have you disparage my son anymore. Especially not for a crime he didn't commit.
What do you mean? The bruise tells us...
It tells us, yes, he got them from when Scootaloo crashed into him. But that's all. It says nothing about his culpability, despite what you have been arguing.
But respectfully, Miss Devotion, Turning Page, having submitted himself for examination, has indicated his guilt.
That is only because his father raised him to take responsibility, even for the things he has no control over. Your Honor, my son didn't kill my husband. I did.
You what?
This track.
This is what is it?
A corner heart.
Yeah,
It's Spirit of Justice.
Yeah.
Miss Devotion, you confessed to murdering your husband?
That's impossible.
That's really funny.
Testified earlier that you didn't even
This kind of has like a similar instrumentation to Confess the Truth, just the piano and the violins.
Majority of my my testimony.
Completely coincidental, but it's really funny.
One additional statement.
It all just works.
As always, we win by complete accident.
Camp said that she saw Sweetie Belle attack Royal Order, but that was a lie. In
We do
actuality,
appreciate some accidental greatness here.
attacked him, leading to him being impaled at the statue's base. Was me.
No, that's not true. She's only doing this to protect her son.
As this runs counter to your argument, what do you think, Miss Sykes?
Your Honor, the defense opposes accepting this new confession. What?
On what grounds?
On the grounds that it muddles everything. We can't just take this at face value. If we want to reach a satisfying conclusion to this whole case, we need to hear one final testimony from Miss Devotion.
Athena's right, Your Honor.
When they said,
There's no
when
way
Athena
to
said
prove
one
that
more,
this
everyone was like, no, come on, don't end it here.
Yeah, this is
Also,
when people realize.
a bit of I just noticed there was a bit of a loop there just now. Fairly good idea why we did that.
Yeah, Luna was out.
No, Your Honor.
I can't exactly blame her with all the twists happening in front of her.
Right.
From this final witness.
Yeah, she thought she was so in control the first half of this case.
But she never
That
was.
repetition of final.
Not to mention that children of all ponies involved in this are the real.
On the night of his murder.
Oh yeah, this will definitely hurt her.
Very well, Your Honor.
This is it. With this, we'll finally be able
And
to
yeah,
put an end
I
to
wanted
this
us to make sure the song faded out with the special ending here on the to be continued.
One final testimony from Miss Devotion.
To be concluded.
That's how you know it's the end. To be
Yeah, it's not
concluded.
continued, it's concluded.
It's concluded. Let me mute this so we don't get struck. We're gonna get claimed. But yeah. Well, let me put some music in the background.
Oh yeah. That's 2-8.
That's 2-8. But of course, we're not done. There's one more thing we gotta look at after this.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2-8, like, as we said before, in the most recent update video that we did, that G voiced in, this is our best performing episode, like by a long shot.
Wow.
And for good reason, honestly.
Like 1.6k peak viewers in the premiere. We made 50k views in 3 weeks. Like, this was a crazy turnout.
There's a lot of like differing opinions on this episode, but at least for me personally, this was definitely by far my favorite one that we worked on. Just is great. What can I say? Like,
yeah,
the way like we like hit all the story beats, the way how we did the music, like the way how we like made the scenes, like all of it just it's just beautiful, honestly.
Yeah.
So we got the cutscene to do.
So,
Really enjoyable to
that's
make.
2-8, but of course, see this little video right there? We got one more to do.
Yeah, he
one
is.
more.
It's him. It's the.
So
What's his name? It's the
before,
boy.
before I actually like, oh, nice face, Coco. Before I start this, I want to explain that 2-8.5, this cutscene, it was supposed to be the ending cutscene to 2-8, but a lot of stuff happened. it got hectic with the production of this cutscene that we're like, we can't do it in time. We'll do it we'll release it at another point. And that's why.
Also, I feel like having a post credits cutscene after that absolute bombshell we dropped at the end of this episode probably would have been a bit much.
It probably would be like it's like people already like probably like 200, 300 probably would have like left the stream, the premiere, because like their hearts have stopped. At that point, we would have no more people left.
Also, we said that this was gonna be originally after 2.8, which is right, but it was also originally gonna be at the end of 2.6, right?
Yeah, it was actually it was actually going to be at the end of 2.6, this cutscene, but then we moved it to
2.8,
to 2.7, then 2.8, and we still couldn't do it.
Yeah. That should tell you a lot about how much work had to go into this cutscene.
Yeah, you can already tell. You know what? I'm just going to play it right now.
Yep.
Like, already you can tell the quality of this cutscene is different from the rest of them. You gotta thank Corey for helping out with the compositing.
Also,
the return of PPW's Coco.
Yep. I also was the one who mastered the audio for this scene.
That is true too.
I assisted with the coloring, and I also. Did you use my cutie mark vectors or?
Yeah. Look at this. So one thing I wanna point out, with this cutscene, is that in the nice track. That the first 3 like shots of Philo Reed, Philo Reed right here, his cutie mark was wrong. So literally in a hurry, we had to change it before the premiere date, like literally like days before. Luckily, we got it out in time. But that was a giant oversight on our part.
I remember initially we thought it was a magnifying glass, but it was actually 2 laughing masks. The tragedy and the comedy theater.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd like to say this isn't that important, but I was in a call with the team. I didn't know anything about Philo's character.
Oh, he doesn't exist. He exists only strictly as a concept that was never.
Yeah.
Yeah. He exists in
okay, fair enough. I didn't know anything about him. Period.
Yeah, Philo.
He was a detective.
Philo Reed was originally. Go ahead.
I did hear about some of you guys talking about him wearing like disguises and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's what the dialogue at the start with the whole clothes and costumes is about. That's a reference to them.
Yeah, that is.
I like how that's established here. It's like even
it's
if
the
you
little
don't really
things
know
like that,
about it, you can understand it.
Yeah, he was going to be the main rival to Twilight in My Little Investigations.
Justin Tran with a 199. Cakewalk. Good old cakewalk. But yeah, like Philo Reed originally was going to be a just someone from MLI, like a detective, but never got to see the light of day. But us EOJ, like, considering it's MLI related, why not bring another MLI character into this? And
strictly speaking, we should point out we're not trying to necessarily resurrect MLI.
Yeah, we're not. Like,
no, yeah.
Nor are we trying to appeal to a sense of the weight of connections and legacy. We're trying not to be just another a series that callbacks to other series.
Mm-hmm. For all intents and purposes, Philo Reed here is going to be
original
his own thing.
Yeah. He's going to be entirely like
kind of like, it's not a complete copy paste.
Yeah, it's not completely copy paste. Like we kind of made him our own.
We did make him our own.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think not a lot of people know this, but like Philo Reed's voice actor, also the same voice actor as Ace Swift from Turnabout Storm. So,
So
I
knew that we actually got the same voice actor that was originally going to voice Philo Reed in MLive, but I didn't know that he also voiced Ace Swift.
You know what's
And
also
he
funny?
I also just
Yeah, he's
noticed
been around a while.
Philo has the opposite colors of Ace Swift.
I was just about to say that. You're right. The Philo Reed and Ace Swift have opposite colors of each other. Like
That's just
Ace
coincidence.
Ace Swift is just a piece of shit, while Philo Reed is just like a fun character.
Yeah,
it is a
just
coincidence. You're right,
coincidence,
but it's
funny.
an awesome coincidence.
The premiere chat has endearingly nicknamed them Herlock-Hoos.
Yeah.
Can we watch the scene?
Yeah, we'll watch it.
But we do it anyway because it's enjoyable. Besides, all of them were simply hanging there, the poor things. Your hard work was just not being given the reverence it deserved.
Al, you're still playing the stream music.
I just turned it off. I know, I'm sorry.
I love these expressions on Coco so much.
Yeah.
He is a sweet little cinnamon roll.
Yeah. Thank our
Cheers.
storyboarders for thinking of these shots like specifically that the super cute super smiley Charlie Brown face. That's Bluebell.
I literally was thinking that. But I didn't want to say it because.
And as you can tell, like they're talking about overall the victim of case 1.
The truth can, in one way.
I love how Herlock's theme comes in on the word when the word truth is said here. It is. This is like one of my favorite tracks in the whole series. And I feel like we make
definitely one of my
use of it here.
favorites in the game, yeah. It's also a unique one. It's not the actual track that plays regularly. It's the one that plays at the beginning of the second case of the Ace Attorney Adventures.
Yeah.
It's a different variation of it. It doesn't have the triangle that plays in the normal one.
Miss Pamela, as much as it pains me to say, when you have eliminated the
Justin Tran with the 199, giving PBW praise for being the voice of Coco.
I really wanted to make it hurt.
precious, and there are a great many things still to do. Sir, wait! I cannot stay, my dear. I must be swift. The game is a hoof.
That took forever to animate.
He said the thing. He said the thing.
He said the
game
thing.
is a hoof.
The original script actually had her just say
overall
normally, but I actually picked out a take where she calls him Obi instead because I think that's way cuter.
Yeah,
and
that
also
is way cuter.
And it also shows how much Coco really cares for him still.
Yeah. All right. Now we're at the end.
This is pure speculation.
We don't really, just want to say we don't really have like a credits at the end of this little cutscene. So you mind saying who worked on this?
It's in the description at least. Yeah, I'll mention that really quick. I'll go to the description. Yeah, storyboards, Bluebell, and Saturn. Those 3 are great. I did all the roughs. And that was pain. Shannon, aka Silver Feathers, did the line art. She was in pain. Peeps and Shannon did line art. I definitely know you suffered through that, Peeps. And Shades, that will be me, Shannon, and Saturn, compositing by Corey, and 5 people, 6 people doing the backgrounds. Corey number 2, aka Corey in the House, Viola, Velocity, Alicia, Iduzu, and Null, and of course, the voices, Peeps and That Canadian Dude. Yeah. It's this cutscene, think about this. We meant to release this at the end of 2.6, but now it's released well after 2.8. That's how long this cutscene took.
Mm-hmm. Also, it doesn't seem like I see it mentioned here, but I was also the audio engineer that mastered the audio for this cutscene.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, let me do that right now. Edit video.
Maybe you shouldn't show people you editing the video.
Oh shit, you're right.
It's okay. PR lead here. He's gonna catch your mistakes and tell you don't do that, Al.
Yeah, we can do that later. But
Yeah, we can do that later.
The audio engineers pour their heart into these as well.
Exactly.
Never forget them.
But yeah,
you said you had something you wanted to speculate on.
Cannot be.
It's a small thing, but it is pure speculation. But I can't help but wonder if the line that's an obvious reference to Sherlock Holmes, when you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains. I do wonder if where we're going to take Philo is going to be that he does he does suspect that whatever he stumbled upon is impossible, but he's trying to eliminate the impossible so that whatever remains true. But like I said, that's pure speculation.
I'll say this much: it's not a reference to Sherlock Holmes. It is literally a line from the Sherlock Holmes series.
Yeah,
that is literally classic.
It's an iconic quote. It's an iconic quote.
I mean, I would still count that as a reference, but yeah.
Yeah. Sherlock Holmes himself in the games reference quotes from the book themselves, so...
I mean, I feel like that was the point, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
and
that was...
sorry, Sherlock's just the most relevant thing that comes to mind, especially with this music.
But yeah, like, that's it for 2.8 and 2.8.5. So, I got nothing else to say at this point.
Yeah,
but
this
yeah,
was a banger DC.
Yeah, this was a banger DC.
One thing I will add is that it really does take a village to make a lot of this happen. And as you can see, just from the credits of this alone, there's a lot that goes into these episodes, and it's really is fun to talk about all the little details that make these just shine.
Oh, 499 from Justin Tran.
Whenever you watch these, that there is a ton of thought and a lot of sweat poured into every second from every angle.
I can't do that right now, Justin Tran, but thank you for the 499. But yeah, we caught up in DCs. We've caught up.
Woo!
Yay!
And now all that there's left is 2.9. But we're not done with that yet.
Ooh.
The final episode.
Last episode is the only thing remaining.
We just have one episode left to work on.
I think that's everything then, Al.
That is everything.
Why don't we end it off here? It's been 3.5 hours.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
I think it's time to...
Everyone who said they wanted to go over 3 hours.
Rest.
Well, we did 3.5 instead. So yeah.
That's not much better. Can we just end it now? I'm tired.
We'll end it now. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for coming to the stream. Thanks to all the Oh, wait. Hold on. Hold on. Let me go to the I need to shout out our front gallery members. Hold on. I need to go find them really quick. Hold on. I have No, wait. Let me find it. I don't have the list. Shit. I'm going there manually. Do I still have the
You can
image?
make it, Jarvy.
No. I'm sorry, Jarvy. I'm sorry for keeping you for longer. Let me find it. I know I can find it. Where the fuck is it? I found it.
Yay!
All right, I found it. I want to say special thanks to Casriel, Sean Taggart, Night Rainbow, 4K42, Hoodie Angel, Maria Moonlight, Lutheria, and Tasma, Sexy Demon Horse, and Tiamat Dragon 55 for the front gallery memberships. Just gotta make sure that I give that shout out. But yeah, now we're done. So I think there's only one way to keep up and to end off with this. You right, guys?
Yep.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah,
totally. I know.
I'm ready.
All right. Okay. Here we
Shameless
go.
self-promote. I'm just kidding.
No. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Objection.
Objection.